This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A sunny day today, breezy and warm this afternoon with a high near 80.
Coming up, we've got the latest from CBS News. President Trump is rejecting Iran's newly named supreme leader as unacceptable. The president believes that he should pick Iran's next leader. The latest coming up at the Tone. It's 6 o'clock.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Day 10 of war, and there are celebrations in the streets of Tehran. Iranians cheering after the country's clerics chose the Ayatollah Khamenei's son, Mujtaba, to replace him. He's considered even more hardline than his father, who was killed in the first wave of strikes. CBS's Matt Gutman spoke with Michael Eisenberg, an advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu.
The highest risk job right now is to be the new Ayatollah. That's a high-risk job. To be the head of the Iranian military, the IRGC, those are high-risk jobs. Don't take them.
They're going to be targeted.
Don't take those jobs. We're watching you.
We've learned the U.S. may have been behind the airstrike that killed more than 100 children at the start of the war.
A source who's been briefed on the preliminary intelligence has told CBS News that the bombing of a girls' school in Iran that killed 168 people was likely carried out by the U.S. and not the Israelis. It concludes that the U.S. didn't deliberately target the school, but that whoever ordered the strike was using outdated intelligence from when the area was part of an Iranian military installation. For its part, the White House says no conclusion has yet been drawn and, quote, it is both irresponsible and false for anyone to claim otherwise. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Thanks to the war, oil and gas prices are still climbing. The BBC's Nick Marsh.
You got those dramatic pictures, of course, of the attacks on energy infrastructure and oil and gas depots in Iran, but also all around the Gulf. So lots of Middle Eastern countries saying, well, there's no point us, increasing our output or continuing with our output if nothing is getting through the Strait of Hormuz in particular.
Crude prices almost reached $120 a barrel this morning. Gas prices here in the U.S. about 50 cents more a gallon than they were just a week ago. This is the first pay period TSA workers aren't getting paid at all because of the partial government shutdown, and flyers are feeling the impact. There were hours-long wait times at Hobby Airport in Houston and Louis Armstrong International in New Orleans. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
What it means for flyers, uncertainty. Based on past shutdowns, it seems likely sick calls and staffing issues will continue, but how that plays out, that's likely going to vary by airport and possibly even by shift in a given day.
He was the defining voice of a generation.
And it's 1, 2, 3, what are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a damn. The next stop is Vietnam.
Country Joe McDonald, who shot to fame at Woodstock in 1969 with his anti-war message, has died. He was 84. His wife says he was suffering from Parkinson's disease. Dow futures down 585. This is CBS News.
Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
At 6:03, we have clear skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, March 9th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. A teenager will face trial starting today for an armed carjacking from last fall. Diamond Bolden of Jennings has been charged with 5 felonies, including first-degree robbery. Police haven't disclosed Bolden's age, but they say that Bolden carjacked someone around midnight, September 29th last year at the 7-Eleven in Florissant. They say Bolden was one of 4 minors who carjacked another car full of juveniles.
Friday evening, it happened around 7:30 as the train approached the Central West End station. Writer Christopher Cormier.
Shock and then panic. I think like everyone else, I thought it was a gunshot at first. And as soon as my senses came to me, I'm on the floor with the rest of them. I'm seeing if anyone's okay. I'm having people asking me if I'm okay.
Police say no gunshots were fired, but they aren't sure of the source. They're investigating it as property damage.
The state and the city remain at odds over how much money the St. Louis Police Department should get.
The state-controlled Board of Police Commissioners has asked for a $250 million budget. Mayor Kara Spencer has said that would cripple the city, and she's accused the board of asking for another $83 million. The board denies that. Police Chief Robert Tracy says all city employees deserve support, but his primary concern is the safety of St. Louis residents.
We need enough money to run the police department. It keeps us safe. We need enough money to recruit police officers. We all know we're down with police officers. We need enough money to retain police officers.
Tracy says roughly a third of current officers are eligible for retirement. Mayor Spencer says a police budget that's too big would force mass layoffs of other city workers. Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
Another member of the military has died as part of the Iran war. The army soldier died from injuries sustained earlier this month after an Iranian attack on a Saudi military base.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, an Operation Iraqi Freedom War veteran, says President Trump is marching the U.S. closer and closer to another protracted, bloody conflict now in Iran.
Trump is handing a gift to bad actors like Russia and the PRC, as his never-ending chaos makes it harder for our armed forces to focus on defending our critical interests in places like the Indo-Pacific.
Duckworth adds, quote, "The president's actions have not put America first. They have made the situation for America worse." Maria Akita, KMOX News.
Senator Josh Hawley calls President Trump's ratepayer protection pledge a step in the right direction, telling The Lion his legislation would mandate companies to be absolutely clear on what it is they actually require when it comes to power for data centers.
I mean, these are the richest corporations in the world. They can pay for their own stuff. And I think the idea that they would come to Missouri and ask for Missourians to pay for their electricity, or that they would take away power supply, or that they would kick people off the grid, that's ridiculous, and we ought to just ban that by legislation.
Hawley says his legislation would require every data center coming into Missouri or any other state to pay their own way, and includes paying their own electricity bills, building out their own power supplies, and paying their own water bills.
Residents of Troy, Illinois recently rose up to fight a proposed data center in their community. Now they want to help other towns make smart decisions about data center developments. Former tech executive Prescott Balch will speak at a forum tonight about how he fought one proposed for his own small village.
Companies have more travel and entertainment expense for lawyers than villages have total revenue. It's not a fair fight.
Balch says massive data centers don't always live up to promises of long-term tax revenue and jobs.
He adds construction can disrupt a community for years. Plus, he says they can be an eyesore in rural towns. You can hear more about this from him at 8:11 here on KMOX.
2 kudu calves were born at the St. Louis Zoo. Our partners at Fox 2 report the calves were born last month. They've been named Mabel and Millie. Lesser kudus are the symbol of the St. Louis Zoo.
They also belong to a family of mammals that includes bison and cattle, and usually live in the woodlands of East Africa. Mabel will make her public debut at Red Rocks in the coming weeks, and Millie will debut later this spring.
From the KMOX business desk, Clayco is not only becoming a major player in the construction of data centers, they're now the largest company doing it with their own dedicated energy unit, Clayco Power and Energy. Demand for electricity expected to surge by as much as 20% by 2030, driving in part for data center growth.
According to the Business Journal, the launch of the new unit came the same day the Trump administration released the ratepayer protection pledge that we've been telling you about. That pledge was signed by the country's 7 largest technology companies. It includes a promise to build their own energy sources for their data centers instead of relying on the public grid and raising electric rates for everyone. Clayco was based in St. Louis for most of its history before moving its headquarters to Chicago in 2013.
We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes here on Total Information AM. It's 6:08.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hola amigos, Brad Evans here. Check out this booming voice and Pat Boyle on BetMGM tonight, covering the biggest sports stories from coast to coast, live and interactive on the free Odyssey app, discussing NFL offseason news and getting you ready for the madness in college hoops. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM. Always live on the free Odyssey app and watch on YouTube at BetMGM tonight.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is now 6:10 and time to update you on traffic and weather. And we'll start with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Now, we got a jam building in North County right now, Debbie, on the westbound 270. I mentioned the report at the top of the hour had a report of a stall near McDonald Boulevard. I just couldn't see in the dark. Well, once police showed up, and then I guess it's an actual crash now because they called out EMS. So the right lane's blocked westbound 270 as you get west of Lindbergh, headed around the bend to McDonald. So the jam is right at Lindbergh right now on westbound 270, bumper to bumper. Again, right lane, maybe two lanes. It's just hard for me to tell as you get around the bend into the distance. But again, it is causing a backup at this time. Other than that, there's a little bit of a slowdown northbound 55 right through McNutt, but it looks good in the work zone north of Bayless. The other construction zones out west, 70 in Warrenton and 64 in the O'Fallon Fairview Heights area. Everything continues to roll along for you at those locations. And still don't see any delays. Northbound 67 at Fairgrounds, where we had an injury, or rather a crash reported off the roadway. That's in St. Francis County. Next update is 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny today. Breezy and warm this afternoon with a high close to the record of 80 set in 1925. For tonight, partly cloudy and very mild, though 61. Tomorrow, some sun, then increasing clouds, breezy, warm, and a bit more humid in the afternoon, the high 82. Look for severe thunderstorms late tomorrow or tomorrow night. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Clear skies this morning, 50 in Florissant, 51 in St. Peters, and 50 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:12. Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt says college sports are on the brink of collapse and that there needs to be a solution. He says the antitrust exemption matters for the governance side, but the revenue side is inextricably linked to the success of this.
I do think there's a growing number of senators that do understand that if we're here a year from now, we're in a much worse place. If we're here 2 years from now, college sports looks entirely different, and it would be a disaster.
In a meeting at the White House on Friday, Schmidt told President Trump he has unique credibility, not just because he's the president, but because he loves and cares about sports.
In an effort to become less reliant on the earnings tax, could the city of St. Louis push for new taxes?
Mayor Kara Spencer wouldn't rule that out at a press conference to ask voters to reauthorize the 1% sales tax. Spencer says it's important to become less reliant on the tax, with Jefferson City pushing to eliminate it in recent years.
We do have some work to do to make sure that we have a more robust stream of revenue going forward. And that's something that you'll be hearing from us as we move forward through the next few years.
The earnings tax must be approved by voters every 5 years. In 2021, nearly 80% of voters chose to reauthorize it. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
There is new legislation pending that may make food trucks more visible in more neighborhoods of the city.
The legislation would cut red tape and expand areas where a food truck could operate in the city to more neighborhoods. While safety concerns are being debated, the bill sponsor, Alderman Rasheen Aldridge, says other cities in the region are pushing to expand food truck accessibility themselves.
Clayton is looking at bringing food trucks to vitalize their downtown. And, when you look at other cities, like food trucks are very popular within those cities.
Aldridge says he hasn't seen any statistics that show street vendors attract crime. His bill, as currently drafted, would allow food trucks to operate until 11 p.m., but he would like to see them be able to stay open until 1 a.m., past when most restaurant kitchens close. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
White River Valley Cooperative in Branson shares some tips about keeping your electric bills lower. Danielle Ireland is an energy services specialist and tells Missouri Net, you don't always need to use hot water when washing clothes.
Most modern detergents are designed to work just as well in cold water. Using cold water can actually save energy and still get your clothes clean. So 80 to 90% of the energy used in a hot wash cycle is for heating that water. A lot of washing machines have an eco warm mode as well that reduces the hot water use by 30 to 50% for those more heavily soiled items. This mode actually lowers the temperature, saving you anywhere from 10 to 20 cents a load. So if you think about it, if you run 5 loads a week, 260 loads or so a year, that's anywhere from a $30 to $50 savings just by changing that setting.
Ireland adds if you have an electric water heater, the savings are even more noticeable.
Tom Ackerman here in Jupiter, Florida, where the Cardinals take on the Orioles this afternoon. 12:05 start. We'll have it for you at Cardinals.com. There will be a link on KMOX.com to get that ball game as well. Mike Claiborne and Stephen Carey will join me at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. That's where Ricky Horton was yesterday, calling the Cardinals game against the Marlins.
Yesterday afternoon, the Cardinals tied the Miami Marlins by a score of 2-2 at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium in Jupiter, Florida, as it was the halfway point of the spring training schedule. It was all about the pitching yesterday. The Cardinals with the tie, now 8-5-1 in the spring. They are only able to manage 5 hits. They scored 2 runs, but only gave up 3 Marlins hits. And it was a home run by Griffin Conine to tie it up in the middle of the game that at least gave the Marlins the tie. But really good pitching on the Cardinals side. That home run came off of Andre Palante, and that was his only blemish. He went 4 innings, struck out 3, gave up only 2 hits. He was outstanding, and so was the Cardinals bullpen.
Yeah, Ricky, I had a chance to talk with Andre Palante after the game, and he acknowledged that this is a different feel for him in 2026.
I mean, I really feel like, I feel very relaxed. A lot of tense, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of stuff like that, especially last year and everything. But I have made it a goal for myself to be very relaxed and be the guy that's, kind of take one out of Miles's book and be, just go with the flow, happy, kind of just happy to be here. And I really feel like that helps bring out the best of me. And Libby said the same thing to me today, too. He's like, you look like you were having fun. And I was like, honestly, I was having fun today, so.
That's important to him and to this team to have a good time with it and just to focus on trying to make this rotation. That's what Palante and others are doing. Liberatore makes the start today against the Orioles. Big Ten tournament is set after Illinois' win at Maryland yesterday. They're the 4 seed on Friday at 1:30 in Chicago. SEC tournament, Mizzou is the 8 seed. They'll play Thursday at 11:30 against the winner of Kentucky and LSU. The A10 tournament, SLU is the 1 seed. Coming off that drubbing at George Mason, they wait until Friday to play at 10:30 on KMOX against the winner of Fordham and GW. Northern Iowa wins the Missouri Valley Conference tournament at Enterprise Center, beating UIC 84-69 and punching a ticket to the NCAA tournament. The Blues, a 4-0 winner over the Ducks in Anaheim. Joel Hofer gets the shutout. 4 wins in a row for the Blues. They are 4 games under 500. I'm Tom Ackerman with the Cardinals in Jupiter, Florida on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Our St. Louis baseball Cardinals reset last season. Now they're planning for the long term. Have you thought about a long-term plan for your family? A will, a trust, powers of attorney? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano can guide you with a personalized estate plan. Sign up for our free webinar on our website, yourestateMatters.com. Learn more about estate planning, get some answers, list your questions, then schedule a consultation. You can plan for your family, your favorite charities, taxes, your long-term care, and even your pets now, before the courts do it for you later. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate. Evans is a proven fighter and the only candidate for U.S. Senate with guts and know-how to get the job done. As an attorney, she took on China and corporate criminals. Jeannie Evans won billions for working families. As senator, Evans will fight and win for you. She'll work to cut taxes and lower the cost of living. Evans believes that keeping Illinois safe will take more than just wishful thinking. It takes courage, and Jeannie Evans has the record to prove it. Evans will always be tough on crime. She'll hold China accountable for trafficking fentanyl and stealing our personal data. Jeannie Evans puts America first. A proven fighter. Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate.
I'm Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Illinois.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is going on 6:20. Let's get a check of the roads. Roger Brand is joining us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the trouble right now, Debbie, is in North County. This traffic reports the service of Financial and Tax Strategies. Talked about that crash, westbound 270. It's westbound 270 before you get to McDonald Boulevard. The right lane's blocked. Westbound 270 has a solid jam back through Lindbergh. It's more of a heavy slowdown now, I guess, as they're trying to get this thing wrapped up. I'm looking right now at overturned tractor trailer crash blocking at the exit from southbound 170 to Scudder. It looks like that exit is closed right now, and I'm not sure. That happened a little while ago. I guess they maybe have to offload that semi, so be advised there are going to be restrictions there for a while. But again, the right lane's still blocked. Westbound 270 before McDonald, it's still not a solid jam like it was initially, but still heavy back at Lindbergh. Other than that, getting a little busier on northbound 55, so the right lanes are just a touch slow at Butler Hill. But it looks good other than that. And out west, 70 at Warrenton, over on the east side, 64 through O'Fallon Beverly Heights is on the go. Next update is 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing your checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Plenty of sunshine, breezy, and warm this afternoon. We may reach a high near a record of 80 that was set back in 1929. Partly cloudy, balmy tonight, an overnight low of 61. And then tomorrow we'll have sun to start with, followed by clouds. It'll be breezy, warm, and more humid in the afternoon with a high of 82. But then we could see some severe thunderstorms roll in late tomorrow and tomorrow night. Those could include some flash flooding, damaging winds, hail, possibly even a tornado. So stay with KMOX for the latest throughout the day. And then Wednesday, windy and cooler with periods of rain, a thunderstorm in the early afternoon, a high 66 with temperatures falling into the lower 50s by Wednesday afternoon. Right now we have cloudy skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's now 6:22. Chaim Bloom is the Cardinals' president of baseball operations, and he joins KMOX's Tom Ackerman at the team's new spring training facility in Jupiter.
When I was talking to you about outfield, you brought up Nathan Church's name pretty quickly. That seems to be having a good camp, still early. Got that great arm, hit a home run right out of the gate. That he's playing center field today, and that I'm not sure I've seen him in left field at all, right? So he's at this point, it looks like he's in a center field competition. Am I wrong about that?
No, although, look, competition's good everywhere. Obviously, we have a lot of confidence in Victor. It's just that one of the things with Churchy is that he's a standout defensive player, both the arm and also his just ability to get to the ball. So he can play center field and he can play it well. So when you have that, obviously you want to be able to use a player there who can do that and lean into that skill set. But obviously there could be opportunity in the outfield and other places too. He has moved around. We have confidence in his ability to do that. He's an interesting player. He didn't hit much in his short stint in the big leagues last year. We believe that there is more in there. And that he's one of those guys that sometimes the first taste of the big leagues, it's hard to slow it down. And that's part of why for him and Jimmy last September, it was cool to be able to introduce them to that so they can understand what it's like, maybe get beat up a little bit, take a breath, figure out what they need to work on. The ability to help us with his glove, with his legs, that's there. So if we can tap into a little bit more with the bat, he could be a really interesting player for us for a long time.
Talk about a guy taking his opportunity and running with it. Joshua Baez gets some at-bats. He blast another one yesterday. I mean, that's one of those guys that you got to sort of rein it in a little bit, I think, and not get too ahead of ourselves when it comes to Baez's future in the big leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm not telling anybody, including myself, not to be super excited about the upside. We just got to remember where he's at. and where he's at in his career. And it's funny. I've been asked a lot of questions since being here, particularly around someone like Jordan about, well, did he get up here too fast? Was it right for him to skip AAA? And hindsight is 2020, but it's important to remember those things when we're talking about someone like Josh, who, again, the upside is sky high. What he did, we've talked about this, what he did in 2025, you just don't see that. And he deserves a ton of credit for being able to run with a plan and actually make meaningful adjustments. And we've gotten to see it in this camp. He can impact the game in every facet. When he squares one up, boy, he's got some pop. And we know we need that. And we need that both short and long term as part of this core. He's going to have every chance to be a part of that. We just got to make sure we're not selling short that journey and making sure we don't skip steps.
Burley was 3 for 3 yesterday. He looks like he's ready to go. Plays a good first base, too. The other highlight yesterday was Kyle Leahy. Hello. 4 perfect innings. It is what it is. It's Grapefruit League, but he looks like he's added that nice change, and he's got a little something going here. This rotation competition is going to get very interesting.
Yeah, he was really good yesterday. And facing, the Mets sent some guys, right? It wasn't a lineup of minor leaguers. They sent some of their dudes, not all of them, but they sent some of them to face us, and Kyle just carved them up. He was really, really good, and that was nice to see because the outing before that was a little more sluggish, and some of that's kind of spring training and kind of working yourself into shape, but all of it, I don't mean physical shape. I mean just sharpening the saw for the season. But he had all his stuff working yesterday. He was executing. He held his stuff, through all 4 innings. It was a really, really good outing. I actually thought yesterday, that whole game, obviously we didn't come out on top, but it was a really kind of a fun game in a lot of ways. Obviously starting to see some of the guys we're counting on for our big league club early and doing some cool things. Someone like Baez, who's trying to knock that door down, doing some interesting things. And at the end, some of our young minor leaguers getting an opportunity to get in there, and some hot situations, some learning moments there at the end of that game, facing a really good prospect from the other side. It was just a really cool day at the ballpark. A lot of different things. We were talking about it. We had a shortstop at the end of the game. It was an 18-year-old who hasn't played above complex ball, and some cool stuff, got a hit, and also some things on defense that he can now take back to the backfield. And okay, I can see the speed of the game up there, and I can see some things I have to work on, and let's get back to work and go attack those things. So it was a really cool day.
Yeah, Carson Shipley handed me this today. He said, "Get going, buddy, on your minor leaguers. We got a whole bunch available today." It's happening. You got a whole bunch of guys down here all fighting for positions and trying to figure it all out. And I think when I look at the construction of the team and try to figure this all out, I sense it. I'm going to be here for a couple of weeks, but I can feel the optimism. There is a refreshing sort of feel as to what you might look like. I hear a lot of people talking about expectations for the season. That is palpable. That's coming through. What is that like on the inside in terms of, again, I'm talking about wins and losses here and record. We all know what the big picture is. What about 2026 specifically for you?
Yeah, I just feel like we shouldn't put a ceiling on what we can do. It's been a cool thing about what we're seeing out of this group. The vibe has been the whole spring training.
That is Chaim Bloom, Cardinals president of baseball operations with KMOX's Tom Ackerman. It's now 6:27, and this time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. And there is a lot of truth to that name, that tagline, because it really is the very best when you are interested in value for your money. You could get the cheapest rock bottom bid and have that fence or deck built, and you'll find that maybe in a year or two, or maybe even less, it's warping, splintering, the nails are popping out. With Chesterfield Fence and Deck, it's quality work because they have their own installation teams that have years of experience. They only ever use the best quality products, and they stand behind everything they do. And that is how you stay in business for 58 years, a 4th generation locally owned family company that has done work for thousands of people across the St. Louis region. It is the sign you have the very best. Just check out their beautiful showroom and warehouse in the Chesterfield Valley to get a real idea of what your outdoor project could look like. Or maybe you already know exactly what you want. They'll come to you, free in-home estimates, free project design. Mention me, Debbie Monterrey, and they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. So get the outdoor space that you have always wanted and that you will be proud of for years to come with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Find them online now at chesterfieldfence.com.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
It is now 6:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got clear skies, 49 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Megan Lynch, and let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. How are things rolling?
Well, we still have our issue in North County, Megan. The original, I thought it was a stall westbound 270 before McDonald turned into a crash. Right lane still blocked. It's about midway between the two where you start seeing restrictions. And there's a backup at Lindbergh. They called out EMS for a rescue crash. South 170 at Scudder. That's an overturned semi that I think happened earlier this morning that they just have to deal with. So I believe that ramp is closed, South 170 to Scudder right now. I have a report of a car stuck in floodwaters, Robertsville Road and Brinkman Road out in Franklin County. So they sent emergency crews there to deal with them. Again, folks, you know, you hear the common phrase, turn around, don't drown. You don't want to drive into something, especially when you don't know how deep the water is. So those folks are stranded apparently right now. Northbound Highway 55, the right lane's a little busy at Butler Hill. Bayless up across River to Pears, slow. North 270, a little slow. North of Doherty Ferry as you head up the hill to Manchester. Southbound 61, brief delay through Highway P, and then crossing over onto 64 after that. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be warm, maybe even you might consider it hot the next couple of days. Today, plenty of sunshine, breezy with a high around 80. Tomorrow, a high of 82. But then we have a couple of severe thunderstorms late tomorrow or into tomorrow night. And that'll push the hot temperatures out. So it'll be 66 on Wednesday with temperatures falling into the 50s. Right now, it's 49 degrees.
It's 6:32. A teenager faces trial today for armed carjacking from last fall. Diamond Bolden of Jennings, Missouri, charged with 5 felonies, including first-degree robbery. Police have not disclosed Bolden's age. Police report the carjacking took place close to midnight on September 29th, 2025, at a Florissant 7-Eleven. Police say Bolden was one of 4 minors who carjacked another car full of juveniles.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page is scheduled to stand trial today. Page was charged with 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors in July.
The charges come after Page used county funds to send out flyers opposing a proposition in the April election. Page's legal team argues the flyer was a public funding measure. The trial takes place today at 1:30 in Springfield, Missouri.
There's still no resolution in the conflict between city officials and the state-controlled Board of Police Commissioners.
Last month, Mayor Kara Spencer said a $250 million police budget would cripple the city and hurt other employees. Now she says the police board has tried to raise the amount from $250 to $333 million. Board President Chris Saraceno says that's just not true.
It would be irresponsible for this board to even think that asking for $333 million is in the best interest of the city. I personally value and see the work that our city workforce does on a day in and day out basis, and they work very hard.
On Friday, workers rallied in front of City Hall over concerns they might lose their jobs. Police Chief Robert Tracy says the police department also needs the city's support so it can attract the best officers available in the job market. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:34.
Spring training is here, and Cardinals baseball is heating up in Jupiter as young talent and big expectations take the field. The Gas House Gang is talking Cardinals all day long. Tom Ackerman, Chris Ronchi, Bernie Miklas, smart takes, insightful analysis, real Redbird conversation, plus live reports from Camp Cardinals with Matt Pauley and Mike Claiborne. If it matters to Cards fans, it's on the Gas House Gang. Weekdays at noon on KMOX.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Experience music, magic, story, and wonder with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Scheherazade, Magic and Myth. Feel bold energy and haunting beauty as violinist Leila Josefowitz performs Alban Berg's deeply moving Violin Concerto. Then be swept away by Scheherazade. Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
It is 6:36, and that means it's time for your money report from Bloomberg. Sponsored for you this morning by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks are tumbling this morning with the Middle East conflict sending oil above $100 a barrel. The geopolitical flare-up is adding stress to markets that are already under pressure from artificial intelligence and how that technology may disrupt a number of industries. S&P futures are down 65 points. Dow futures falling 540. On the agenda for investors this week is a key report on inflation. Consumer price data will be released on Wednesday, but the February report covers a time before the outbreak of the war in Iran and its impact on gasoline prices. The inflation data comes on the heels of a disappointing jobs report last week. Payrolls declined by 92,000 last month. And dirty soda chain Swig keeps on expanding. The company that specializes in pop mixed with flavored syrup, juice, and cream now has 148 locations and almost a third open last year alone. Swig says its goal is to open 1,000 stores by 2030. Courtney Dunhope, Bloomberg Radio.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here.
Bernie Miklasz joins Rush Hour Sports tonight at 5 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It's 6:40. We need to update you on the roads. We've had some problems out there already this Monday morning. Roger Brand has the latest for you from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we got some good news in North County now, Megan. This traffic reports service of the Woodlands of Arnold Senior Living. That'd be westbound 270. They opened up all the lanes before McDonald Boulevard. There's still a little bit of a pretty quickly, I'm sure. Again, ramp from southbound 170 gutter is closed because of an overturned semi. The ramp, they're blocking it, so it's probably going to be closed. Well, it happened during the overnight hours. They just closed the ramp recently, but I guess to offload that semi or get it out of there. So we'll have to keep tabs on it. But right now, it is shut down. If you're on northbound Highway 55, you've got heavy traffic from about Bayless up to River de Pere. It's still kind of slow past Holly Hills. Northbound 270, Big Bend Doherty Ferry area, that's a little slow. Southbound 61, approaching Highway P, there are heavy stretches down onto 64 through Prospect. After that, it opens up and it runs well. On the Illinois side, it's a little slow westbound 64 at 159. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The Woodlands of Arnold campus offers skilled rehab, a beautiful assisted living community, and a secure memory care to keep your loved ones safe. Check us out at rspseniorliving.com. That's rspseniorliving.com.
It is 6:41, and that means it's time to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. And just keeping with the theme of what it's been like, I think, the last 2 months around here, the highs and the lows, the roller coaster of temperatures continues.
Yeah, it does. And Debbie, we're going to be on the up for the start of the week, and then decidedly on the down as we go through the midweek period behind a pretty powerful cold front. And as we make the transition, unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with some severe weather, if not late tomorrow, almost certainly tomorrow night, and then some rain and a thunderstorm for a time on Wednesday. Today, though, nothing but sunshine and a warm breeze kicks in. We'll get to 80. That's the record from 1925. Partly cloudy tonight, though, just 61. Warm tomorrow. Some sun gives way to gathering clouds, the high 82. Toward the end of the day, and more likely under the cover of darkness, thunderstorms, any of which could be severe with downpours, hail, damaging winds, and threats of tornadoes. That's all on the table tomorrow night. Wednesday will be a stormy day to start with wind, rain, and a thunderstorm. That rain will start to move out in the afternoon, but temperature will go from 66 in the morning down into the low 50s by day's end. Sunshine returns, kind of a chilly day Thursday, the high 56. Partial sunshine Friday, the high up to 64. Right now, 53 at St. Peter's and in Florissant, clear 52 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's now 6:43. Tom Ackerman will have sports from Jupiter, Florida, coming up in just a couple of minutes. But in the news, alpha-gal syndrome is a food allergy to several things, including certain meats, dairy, and byproducts. It's triggered by tick bites. Eden Stewart, a nutrition and health specialist with the University of Missouri Extension, says she has 5 new guides that have been released on alpha-gal syndrome.
Stewart first heard of alpha-gal at a farmer's market.
this woman came up to me and she was like, hey, my child has alpha-gal syndrome. And I said, well, what is that? I never heard of it. And she started explaining it to me. And I looked at her and I thought, oh, this sounds like it's made up. Like there's no way. It's kind of a wild allergy to have. And she said, I'm having a really hard time feeding my child.
Stewart tells MissouriNet things you wouldn't suspect, like gelatin used as a binder on products like cereal, made her realize there was not much information on alpha-gal.
First thing people really start to notice is as you're going through the aisles and looking at the ingredient list, there are some hidden ingredients that we might not suspect. So someone who has alpha-gal syndrome and they now have to switch over to what I always refer to as beaks and fins, right, to try to keep from getting their allergy to react. They might try to switch over to like the poultry side of things. And so they'll be like, oh, here's a really nice chicken sausage I'm going to go ahead and pick up. And then if you look at the back of the ingredient, a lot of those alternatives are still made in like beef or pork casings. People, need to be aware that there might be hidden ingredients such as that. Another very common thing we see for people who have that very high sensitivity level is sometimes those pre-made packages of like rice that has seasoning or pasta that has seasoning. The nutrition labels on them and the ingredient list will have things labeled as natural flavors or natural seasonings. We don't know where those are derived from. So it could be a animal byproduct that could trigger your allergy. So we tell people you need to call the manufacturing because sadly, they don't list that quite on the allergy listing on the bottom of food products, kind of like they do for, tree, like nut tree allergies and other well-known allergies, just because I don't think it's been as common or, as noticed as in the past with some of these other allergies.
Right now, there is no cure for alpha-gal syndrome. Research investigates using cats as therapy animals. We'll have that story for you. Cats getting their due. That's coming up on Total Information AM at 6:45.
In Jupiter, Florida with the Cardinals, who play today on KMOX's streaming broadcast. It's on Cardinals.com. Mike Claiborne and Stephen Carey will join me as Matthew Liberatore makes the start against the Orioles, and a split squad will head down to West Palm Beach to take on the Houston Astros at the very same time. Here yesterday, the Marlins and the Cardinals went at it at their home at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium, and the Cardinals got after it right away. Cardinals were the road team. Top of the first, one-out walk for Jose Fermin. Here comes Pedro Pajes.
And he lines that one in the left center field. He elevated it into the gap, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. So Fermin is rounding third base, and there will not be a play at the plate as Pajes has put the Cardinals on the board here in the first inning. And the crowd loves it. 1-0 St. Louis.
Ricky Horton with the call as the Cardinals ended up in a 2-2 tie with the Marlins yesterday. Their first tie of Grapefruit League play. Andre Palante went 4 innings, looked really good. He gave up 1 run on just 2 hits, walked 1, struck out 3, and the Cardinals ended up in a 2-2 tie. The Cardinals' best hitter might be Ivan Herrera. He is sidelined right now with a sore knee. I asked Ali Marmol to give us an update, and it was positive.
Yeah, I talked to him briefly, and he felt a lot better today. So we'll see how he comes in tomorrow. But he said night and day compared to yesterday. So that's a positive.
We'll keep an eye on that situation. In the meantime, the Cardinals shed Jimmy Crooks and Leo Bernal over the weekend from their catching group. They optioned those 2 players to AAA Memphis, so it's pretty much down to 3 catchers right now. Pajes, Pozo, and Herrera, and the Cardinals could well roll with those 3 because Pozo can play as a first baseman. He also has a strong right-handed bat that they like, good bat speed, hits the ball extremely hard, and he has shed some weight as well as he's trying to get himself back into some good playing shape for 2026. Again, Cardinals.com has the broadcast today. Illinois with a 78-72 win over Maryland yesterday. They'll play Friday in the quarterfinals in Chicago of the Big Ten tournament at 1:30. Mizzou plays 11:30 against the winner of Kentucky and LSU on Thursday. And the A-10 tournament SLU is Friday at 10:30 a.m., 10:15 pregame against the winner of Fordham and GW. Northern Iowa punched its ticket yesterday with an 84-69 win in Arch Madness. Blues shut out the Ducks in Anaheim 4-0. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals and Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX from Jupiter, Florida.
Want to hear a shocking statistic? Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. Don't believe it? Google it. And that doesn't count serious injuries like birth injuries to perfectly healthy children. All doctors wear white jackets, but it doesn't make them all the same. Most medical errors are committed by the same quacks over and over again. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Many hospitals looking for more profits are forcing doctors and their groups to be employees of the hospital or be forced out of their system. It's a troubling trend in medicine. People make mistakes, but medical mistakes are huge and often forever. If you believe your child suffered a birth injury or a misdiagnosis or mistake led to a loved one's death or injury, let our team of medical malpractice lawyers examine your case for free. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. The work is guaranteed, and it's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. No extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, since 1926, 100 years. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:50. Let's update you on the ride into work on this Monday morning with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're traveling through North County, the westbound 270 run, Megan, if you're headed that way through Lindbergh, is all thinned out from the earlier crash we had west of there. And South 170 looks good, but again, the ramp from South 170 to Scudder is still closed. That Cloverleaf ramp and overturned semi there blocking is the reason why. I'm not sure how long it'll be shut down because of it. Southbound 61 from Highway P down onto 64 through Lake St. Louis Boulevard's kind of busy, but after that, you're good to go. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry up the hill to Manchester, that's pretty slow. Northbound 55, just the usual slow spots. Bayless up through the Holly Hills area, a couple of spots where it's a little off the pace. Westbound 64 earlier, we had a brief delay at 159 at Fairview Heights. That has since thinned out. Now it's just a touch slow crossing the Poplar. Musel Veterans Bridge still looks great. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
We have 2 days of summer basically before the winter returns, or maybe spring. I'm not sure. It's going to be 80 today with plenty of sunshine. Tomorrow, 82 with some humidity, and then some severe storms moving through late tomorrow or tomorrow night. And by Wednesday, we'll have a high of 66 with rain and thunderstorms, but temperatures falling into the lower 50s by Wednesday afternoon. We're almost there right now. It's 49 degrees with clear skies in downtown St. Louis.
You're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX with Debbie Monterrey. I'm Megan Lynch. And as you've been hearing this morning, crude oil prices spiked well over $100 a barrel. Let's check in now with CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Jill, good morning. And I guess this is causing a lot of angst, both for consumers and investors.
Yeah, it's a bad Monday morning. Sorry about that, gang. You know, last week, crude oil was up 36%. I mean, that is a stunning move. We have not seen a weekly increase like that since the early 80s. And, when we look at where we are today, waking up on a Monday morning, we're seeing gas prices up about 48 cents a gallon, according to AAA, from just a week ago. And look, I know this is early days. So if this war in the Middle East were to basically be over within, 5 days, 8 days from now, it will be a nasty blip, but it will not be long lasting. And that would be good for consumers. But if the fighting persists and it spreads to the rest of the region, as it has already, but even more so, I think that that's when consumers are really going to start to feel the pain. And the reason is twofold, not just oil and gas and energy in general, but also the cost of getting your groceries to the store will increase. So those transportation costs increase. And actually, we get a lot of our fertilizer from the Middle East, and that could eventually push up food prices. So food and gas, when you think about like the sharp tip of what consumers feel in a given week when they're spending, if those prices are up, they're going to really be hurting, and they're going to need those tax refunds. Evidently, those tax refunds are expected to be larger this year. So if you haven't filed yet, maybe that's a way to find a little bit of money that you weren't counting on.
Yeah, I had to gas up this week, and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
But
right.
On the bright side, I had to get coffee too, and coffee prices were only slightly less horrible than they were the week before. So, good news.
Yeah. Listen, I think it's hard for folks because, the inflation rate has come down. We have seen that, over, let's think about like 3.5, 4 years when inflation we were 9%, prices were rising so fast, and the rate has come down to below 3%, but the overall price level hasn't come down. And that's when people say affordability, when they say that word, what they're really saying is the overall level of prices over the last 4 or 5 years has really caught consumers by surprise. And for many people, the cost of healthcare, the cost of childcare, elder care, housing, those big, huge ticket items. Those have not seen a lot of relief.
Jill Schlesinger is our CBS News business analyst, and she also is talking on her blog about the loss of 92,000 jobs we learned about last week. You can get it at jillonmoney.com/blog. Have a great week, Jill.
Take care. Thank you.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
Today's KMOX birthday shout out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Celebrity birthdays for this Monday, March 9th include actor Emmanuel Lewis, 55 years old today, actor Oscar Isaac, 47, Brittany Snow, 40, and rapper Bow Wow is 39 years old.
Local celebrity birthdays include Barbara Wynn Gonzalez, Linda Peach, Steve Panic, Mickey Jenkins, Pat Etling, Ellen Schaeffler, and Cindy Melton from Patty and Jim. And happy birthday wishes going out to Paul Crandall, Scott Holdridge, Marla Stoker, and Jim Rhodes.
This is the best birthday ever.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun. But every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, March 10th and Thursday, March 12th. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. And services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. youridoc.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Let's check the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, Megan, we're slow on southbound 61, midway down from P to Wentzville Parkway, 64 Lake St. Louis Boulevard, northbound 270, Doherty Ferry toward Manchester, and north of Manchester, headed up to 64 and 55 is a little busy passing Loughborough. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Monday, the 9th of March. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
The city and the state-controlled Board of Police Commissioners remain at odds over the police budget. I'm Scott Jagout with the latest.
I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Maria Kino with the warning from a Middle East war veteran and United States Senator.
I'm Tom Ackerman in Jupiter, Florida. Our spring training report coming up at 7:15.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Plenty of sunshine today, breezy and warm this afternoon with a high close to the record of 80.
It's time for CBS News at the Tone. It's 7 o'clock.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. This is day 10 of the war with Iran. And thousands of people in Tehran's Central Square clamored to pledge allegiance to the new leader. Correspondent Matt Gutman reports from Tel Aviv.
All eyes are on Iran this morning in the selection of Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the former supreme leader. We don't know much about him except he's very close to the regime and that this is a clear signal from the regime of defiance.
His father was killed in U.S. and Israeli airstrikes at the beginning of the war. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is weighing in on how the fighting will end. He tells CBS's 60 Minutes.
We'll know when they're not capable of fighting. There'll be a point where they'll have no choice but to do that. But whether they know it or not, they will be combat ineffective. They will surrender.
Israel says it's begun wide-scale strikes on Tehran, Isfahan, and southern Iran today after one man was killed in central Israel. The war continues to take a toll on energy prices. Correspondent Nicole Killian reports from Washington.
Oil prices top $100 a barrel overnight for the first time in 4 years, while gas prices are up nearly 50 cents over the past week. The president predicted they'll eventually drop rapidly. Energy Secretary Chris Wright on Face the Nation.
They shouldn't go much higher than they are here because the world is very well supplied with oil.
The national average for a gallon of regular gasoline in the U.S. this morning is $3.47. It's $5.20 in California. The Defense Department says it's blown up another suspected drug smuggling boat, this time in the eastern Pacific Ocean.
U.S. Southern Command posted a short aerial video of what it called a lethal kinetic strike. The boat, with 2 or 3 outboard engines, suddenly explodes. 6 people are reported dead, raising to at least 156 the death toll of an anti-smuggling campaign, which legal experts argue amounts to the illegal extrajudicial killing of civilians, an accusation, they say, which would stand even if the Trump administration had ever supplied proof that those killed were smuggling drugs. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Police in Los Angeles say they have a suspect in custody after a shooting aimed at the mansion of a pop star.
Lift me up.
CBS's Carter Evans is in Beverly Hills.
Police say the suspect, a woman in her 30s, parked her car, a white Tesla, outside Rihanna's home and fired at least 7 gunshots before speeding off. Aerial footage showed multiple gunshot holes in the gate outside the home.
We're told Rihanna was inside unharmed. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
Okay, class, let's begin.
Psst, love your boots. I just sold a pair like that on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took like 2 seconds to list and they sold almost immediately. I've been selling everything lately. Some chunky boots, a faux fur coat I never wore, and a vintage chair that was more of an expensive clothing rack.
You know, I actually bought these on eBay. Wait, are you Kitty Sell Stuff from Brooklyn?
Okay, quiet, please.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay. Things people love.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
At 7:04, we have clear skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, March 9th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page scheduled to stand trial starting today. Our partners at Fox 2 report that Page was charged with 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors in July, and the charges come after Page used county funds to send out flyers opposing a proposition in the April election. Page's legal team argues the flyer was a public funding measure, and the trial will take place in Springfield, Missouri, starting at 1:30 today.
A teenager faces trial today for armed carjacking from last fall. Diamond Bolden of Jennings, Missouri, has been charged with 5 felonies, including first-degree robbery. Police have not disclosed Bolden's age. Police report the carjacking took place last September at a Florissant 7-Eleven. They say Bolden was one of 4 minors who carjacked another car full of juveniles.
St. Louis police are looking into what caused a Metrolink train window to shatter while the train was carrying passengers. It happened Friday night as the train got close to the Central West End station. Many riders thought it was a gunshot, but police have ruled that out. Passenger Christopher Cormier.
It really did feel like in that moment, it was everyone looking out for each other. As much as you hear constantly about how, in a situation like that, it's every man for himself. I've never really felt that in St. Louis, and especially then I didn't feel that.
Police have not said whether they believe any kind of foul play was involved.
The state and city remain at odds over how much money the St. Louis Police Department should get.
The state-controlled Board of Police Commissioners has asked for a $250 million budget. Mayor Kara Spencer has said that would cripple the city, and she's accused the board of asking for another $83 million. The board denies that. Police Chief Robert Tracy says all city employees deserve support, but his primary concern is the safety of St. Louis residents.
We need enough money to run the police department. It keeps us safe. We need enough money to recruit police officers. We all know we're down with police officers. We need enough money to retain police officers.
Tracy says roughly a third of current officers are eligible for retirement. Mayor Spencer says a police budget that's too big would force mass layoffs of other city workers. Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
I'm not about to shed a tear for the Ayatollah's death. He was no friend of the United States, nor to his own people.
That's Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, a combat Iraq war veteran who lost her legs when a rocket-propelled grenade hit her Black Hawk helicopter. She says her first concern is the national security of the United States.
Senator Duckworth is a frequent critic of President Trump.
And I'm troubled because of the consequences that are sure to come because of Trump's actions. Our troops and Americans all around the world are at greater risk because Trump wanted to thump his chest and look like a tough guy on TV. For no real reason he can explain.
A U.S. Army soldier died from injuries Sunday that he suffered right after the Iran war started.
Trump is marching us closer and closer to another costly, bloody, protracted conflict.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
2 kudu calves are born at the St. Louis Zoo. The calves were born last month. They're named Mabel and Millie. Lesser kudus are the symbol of the St. Louis Zoo.
They also belong to a family of mammals that includes bison and cattle, and usually they live in the woodlands of East Africa. Mabel will be making her public debut at Red Rocks in the coming weeks. Millie later this spring.
From the KMOX business desk, Clayco is not only becoming a major player in the construction of data centers, but the company is now the largest, doing it with its own dedicated energy unit, Clayco Power and Energy. Demand for electricity expected to surge by as much as 20% by 2030, driven in part by data center growth.
According to the Business Journal, the launch of the new unit came the same day the Trump administration released a ratepayer protection pledge that was signed by the country's 7 largest technology companies. It includes a promise to build their own energy sources for their data centers instead of relying on the public grid and raising everyone else's electricity rates. Clayco was based in St. Louis for most of its history before moving its headquarters to Chicago in 2013.
It's 7:08. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. If it's cold outside, the team at Morelli Tuck Pointing is still busy. During colder months, Morelli can inspect any exposed brick inside your house. If your basement has a stone or black wall, Morelli can remove the worn-out mortar from that wall and replace it with new mortar. This tuck pointing work will reinforce your foundation, prevent water from entering your home, and thwart pests. This is a great time to get the inside of your garage inspected. And the same goes for your brick or stone fireplace. I've used Morelli Tuck Pointing to repair the chimneys, walkways, and walls of 2 homes here in St. Louis. The Morelli bids are fair, their crews are super polite, and they clean their job sites. Don't take my word for it. Check out the reviews on Google. Winner of the BBB Torch Award and the Next Door Neighbor Fave Award, 35 years in business, an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate. Evans is a proven fighter and the only candidate for U.S. Senate with guts and know-how to get the job done. As an attorney, she took on China and corporate criminals. Jeannie Evans won billions for working families. As senator, Evans will fight and win for you. She'll work to cut taxes and lower the cost of living. Evans believes that keeping Illinois safe will take more than just wishful thinking. It takes courage, and Jeannie Evans has the record to prove it. Evans will always be tough on crime. She'll hold China accountable for trafficking fentanyl and stealing our personal data. Jeannie Evans puts America first. A proven fighter. Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate.
I'm Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Illinois.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is now 7:10. This is Total Information AM, and it's time to check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're doing all right out there for the most part, Debbie. It's a pretty quiet morning so far. We do have that ramp still closed. Southbound 170 is Scudder. It shut down due to a tractor-trailer crash that occurred earlier this morning, so they're in the process of trying to clean that up, so I'm not sure how long that ramp will remain closed. Not causing a backup on the interstate, though. South 170 looks fine coming down from Airport Road. Northbound 270 is not bad. Just a little slowdown at Gravois north of Manchester up through 64. It's a little busy in spots. Northbound 55 looks good down in Festus, and for the time being, north of Bayless, you're in good shape there as well. Southbound 61 on to 64 coming out of Wentzville, that's all thinned out. Westbound 64 right now is okay through the O'Fallon Fairview Heights area and still clear headed across the bridges downtown. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, plenty of sunshine today, breezy and warm this afternoon with a high near the record of 80 set in 1925. Partly cloudy, balmy tonight, though 61. Tomorrow some sun followed by increasing clouds, breezy, warm, and a bit more humid in the afternoon, high 82. Look for a couple of severe thunderstorms either late tomorrow night. It can produce flash flooding, damaging winds, hail, even a tornado. Wednesday, windy and cooler with periods of rain and a thunderstorm through early afternoon. The morning high 66, then temperature will fall into the low 50s late Wednesday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
50 degrees reported in Florissant, 51 in St. Peters, and 50 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:12. Average gas prices in the St. Louis area rose almost 27 cents per gallon in the past week. Gas Buddy says current prices are averaging $3.15 today, an average that is 45 cents higher than it was a month ago. The company also reports a national average price for gas rose 51 cents per gallon in the past week. Head of petroleum and analysis at Gas Buddy, Patrick DeHaan, says prices in many states could continue to increase between 20 to 50 cents per gallon this week.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer says she wants the city to become less reliant on the earnings tax and develop more robust sources of revenue. KMOX News asked the mayor if that could mean new taxes.
We could be looking at that. I mean, we're going to be having a more robust, community-centered conversation about that before moving anything forward. So it's really going to be taking a look at what options are out there. Many of those streams are taxes, as you pointed out.
Spencer says after the earnings tax vote next month, she wants to form a team and begin exploring the city's options. The earnings tax will appear on the April 7th ballot.
Several area billionaires apparently have differing views on the earnings tax. As you just heard, city residents will vote on whether to renew it in April. The reason city residents need to vote to renew it every 5 years is largely due to billionaire Rex Sinkfield, who pumped more than $11 million into the campaign for a statewide initiative requiring that vote.
The Post-Dispatch reporting Enterprise Executive Chairman Andy Taylor recently cut a $100,000 check to the Yes on Proppy campaign. The campaign encourages city residents to keep the earnings tax, which makes up about a third of the city's general revenue budget. Taylor did not comment on the donation or his stance on the 1% tax.
More neighborhoods in the city of St. Louis may be seeing food trucks. Alderman Rasheen Aldridge's bill won't mean food trucks in every city neighborhood, though, like his previous legislation.
Downtown Cherokee Street, Central West End, The Grove. We're also looking at, I think I'm missing one, like by the Arts District, I think off like by the Fox, maybe potentially Soulard.
Now they're trying to come up with a time the food trucks should close up shop. It's currently 11 at night, but Aldridge wants the food trucks to be able to stay open past midnight.
A lot of kitchens close at 10 o'clock. And as people are leaving either a bar or they're leaving, whatever the establishment is, there's no food.
Concerns that food trucks will attract crime. Aldridge says there are no statistics that show that.
It's now 7:15.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens, and making memories. And by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
Tom Ackerman in Jupiter, Florida, live with the club here at spring training inside their complex. Let me start with an announcement. We're very pleased to announce that Ollie Marmol, the Cardinals manager, will be joining us once again on the Gas House Gang. He has agreed to be with us every week beginning on March 31st. He will join us every Tuesday at 12:05 until about 12:30. So we'll have half the show with Chris Ranji, Bernie Miklas, and me. A unique opportunity. Not many Major League managers, if any, do this, where they sit down on a weekly basis and answer questions from fans and from us. And Ollie will be doing that on a weekly basis on the Gas House Gang on KMOX every Tuesday during the season. The Cardinals are 2 weeks away from being in Springfield, Missouri, playing an exhibition game. We have 2 weeks left in spring training, so decisions are going to start being made here about what the club is going to look like moving forward. They've already optioned Jimmy Crooks and Leo Bernal to AAA Memphis, two catchers that are rising in the organization. So that leaves three: Pedro Pajes, Joel Pozo, and Ivan Herrera. Herrera coming back from some knee soreness. They hope he's only out for another day or two. Said to be feeling a lot better after being scratched from the lineup over the weekend. I mentioned earlier that Joel Pozo has lost some weight, and that has been significant. He is trying to figure out not only can he play first base as a backup, but also as the backup catcher to Pajes. The bat for Pozo is a significant bat off the bench. He's one of their best pinch hitters, one of the best pinch hitters in the National League last year, and he hits rockets off the bat. He had a hit yesterday that was 105 miles per hour off the bat. Here's manager Ollie Marmol talking about that weight loss for Pozo.
It's something that it's more of a movement thing, just being able to actually be a little bit more agile and stay kind of ready behind the plate. for 162 and be able to withstand a season. He's in a better position to be able to do that. It was important to him, and he came in ready.
Cardinals tied the Marlins yesterday 2-2, 4 strong innings for Andre Palante. He allowed just a run on 2 hits, walked 1, and struck out 3. The Cardinals have split squad today. They have a team down in Houston at West Palm Beach against the Astros. We will be here at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium as the Cardinals take on the Orioles at Cardinals.com. It's a 12:05 first pitch. Mike Claiborne and Stephen Carey will join me. The Blues beat the Ducks last night 4-0 in Anaheim, a shutout for Joel Hofer. Illinois topped Maryland 78-72. They play Friday as the 4 seed in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament at 1:30. And the MVC tournament was settled yesterday. Northern Iowa punches its ticket to the big dance with a win over UIC, 84-69. I'm Tom Ackerman with the Cardinals in Jupiter on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
It's Tom Ackerman in Jupiter. This warm weather in St. Louis that we're expecting today has us thinking about pool weather, and it is coming. The Missouri Athletic Club has one of the best pool experiences in the entire St. Louis region. It's at the MAC West, and their members and guests enjoy bar service, food service from several different places, including that awesome renovated snack bar right outside the pool. The new pool chairs and the whole setup there is just perfect. The kids enjoy it. My kids grew up there, basically learned how to swim at the MAC, and we have a great time entertaining people at the MAC. The summers are awesome at the MAC West. Downtown location, always hopping during the summer with great weddings and events. You can book a spot. You don't have to be a member to book at the MAC if you want to have an event at the Missouri Athletic Club. And as I mentioned earlier this morning, the MAC Clayton's about to open. The MAC Clayton. That was a dream at one point. Now it is reality this spring. MAC-STL.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's now 7:20. We owe you another update on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're looking good right now, Megan. I mean, Monday mornings, Tuesday will get a little busier. So right now we're in great shape. We have a little bit of a backup northbound 55 Bayless up to River to Bear, but then it sorts itself out. Looks good coming up from Festus Way. Northbound 270, still fine coming up through Tesson Ferry, Gravois 30, Gravois eastbound, kind of slow up the hill from Mauer to 270 right now. North 270, just a little busy between Manchester and the Clayton Road overpass. Southbound 61 looks great. On to eastbound 6470 coming out of Wentzville. Not seeing any issues there. Downtown we're still okay. Westbound 64, just a brief slowdown at 159, but it's still good to go headed across the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, thanks, Roger. The weather is once again up and down. Today and tomorrow will be very warm. Plenty of sunshine today with a high near 80. And then tomorrow's high around 82. But then a couple of severe thunderstorms moving through late tomorrow into tomorrow night means that Wednesday will have some thunderstorms into the early afternoon, and temperatures at 66 degrees as a high, but falling into the 50s by Wednesday afternoon. Right now it's clear and 49 downtown.
The news continues at 7:22. Missouri U.S. Senator Josh Hawley called President Trump's ratepayer protection pledge a step in the right direction. Hawley tells The Lion the legislation would mandate companies be absolutely clear on what it is they actually require when it comes to power for data centers.
I mean, these are the richest corporations in the world. They can pay for their own stuff.
And I think the idea that they would come to Missouri and ask for Missourians to pay for their electricity, or that they would take away power supply, or that they would kick people off the grid, that's ridiculous, and we ought to just ban that by legislation.
Hawley says his legislation would require every data center coming into Missouri or any other state pay their own way. That includes paying their own electricity bills, building out their power supply, and paying their own water bill.
A former tech executive says data center developers are asking too much of small towns.
I think the industry has a problem.
Prescott Balch will explain what he thinks the problem is at a community forum tonight in the Metro East.
So they're building data centers that are 1 million square feet. The campus is 2-3 million square feet. And that requires an immense amount of land.
Balch says data centers can change the landscape of a rural community. Plus, he says there's no guarantee those massive buildings will always be a data center. That forum starts at 6 tonight at the Moose Lodge in Edwardsville.
Missouri lawmakers are contemplating a plan to tighten insurance rules for app-based delivery drivers. State Senator Curtis Gregory's bill would impose statewide rules for app-based companies like DoorDash and Spark. It's an effort to make sure drivers have appropriate insurance coverage.
MissouriNet reports a rep from DoorDash is against the bill in its current form. Walmart, which runs Spark, spoke out against the bill, saying the key point is when does a person stop using their car for personal use and when does it start becoming commercial use?
Another bill advancing in the Missouri General Assembly, this time a crackdown on juvenile crime. The legislation would classify older juveniles who commit felonies as adults. It could also share minors' fingerprints in a central database and set mandatory prison time for adults before they'd be eligible for parole. The measure passed in the Senate. It awaits a vote in the House.
If your child's school uses anything but traditional grading, expect that to change. Governor Mike Kehoe believes all schools should use an A through F system and issued an executive order directing the State Department of Education to put a plan together to make it happen. Now, the House has approved a bill they say is a new school accountability system. It now heads to the Senate.
Florissant Democrat Ken Smith asked whether it will improve schools or mostly brand communities. During the House debate, other lawmakers didn't feel the legislation was quite ready. An amendment that passed would also grade schools' environment based on the rates of student suspension, seclusion, and other factors, including satisfaction surveys.
Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt met with President Trump Friday during a roundtable on college sports. There is regular chaos, he says, in sports with transfers and student athletes making big money.
I do think that if we're serious about this, the antitrust exemption matters for the governance side, but I think the revenue side is inextricably linked to the success of this. If you are losing money on a football, and I'm from Missouri, we love, we're in the SEC. If you're losing money on your football program, you're not going to be able to subsidize the women's sports and the Olympic sports.
Schmidt says with unclear rules, out of control NIL deals, and severe revenue problems, the future of college sports is on the line.
The Life Church in Baldwin has caused a stir after its large sign read, quote, "Pray against Islam, a demonic religion." It also features a photo of the church's pastor, Dan Walker. That message has now been taken down. The pastor has issued an apology. Walker says the wording was his decision and was a mistaken judgment for which he takes full responsibility, and the message was taken down after he saw the hurt it caused. The message posted in the midst of Ramadan, the most holy holiday for Muslims.
The Post-Dispatch had reported last week that the nearby Islamic Foundation had reached out to the church, but calls were not returned. Calls were also not returned to KMOX. Life Church is affiliated with the Assemblies of God, which is a Pentecostal denomination.
St. Ignatius School in Marthasville closing after 150 years. The Archdiocese of St. Louis says the Warren County School has had declining enrollment and ongoing financial challenges. St. Ignatius will close at the end of this school year.
It is now 7:26. The time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating Electrical. Make that heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Welcome back to Jupiter. Tom Ackerman with you. Banner Construction knows that with spring now here, it is time to restore the exterior of your home. And they believe the single most important decision that homeowners must face when considering a restoration project is, who do you hire? We all want the lowest price. I mean, who wouldn't? This is your home, though. It's your biggest life investment. Be careful of the people who cut corners to win your business. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella window specialist. It's important to choose an experienced expert like Banner to make sure that the job is done beautifully, that the job is done right. And Banner's design team will show you affordable design options you never thought you had. Banner Construction. They know how much you love your home. Their goal is to make you fall in love with your home all over again. Make the right choice and call Banner Construction for your exterior renovation. 314-569-1050. They'll do a free in-home consultation. 314-569-1050 and have a banner day.
A night of live rock you gotta see. Foghat and Nazareth. With special guest, The Babies. Saturday, May 2nd at the Family Arena. Foghat. Nazareth. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Nazareth and Foghat live. Sawyer Brown. Some girls don't like boys like me. Oh, but some girls do. And Lone Star. Every little thing that you do. Baby, I'm live this Saturday night at 7, the Family Arena. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Sawyer Brown and Lone Star together live.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call Zero Res. Springing forward feels better on freshly cleaned carpets and floors. Let Zero Res remove lingering grime and preparing your home for the brighter days ahead. Check out all the raging customer reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating. This month, buy one, get one room of carpet clean for free. Unlimited rooms of carpet when you ask for the DGS special. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forward or backwards. Spells the same, Zero Res.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Looks like the sunshine's coming up at 7:30 this morning. We've got sunny skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this is Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, driving in through downtown right now on the Illinois side looks great. There's just a little bit of a slowdown westbound 64 at 159 and just a little heavy on the Poplar Street Bridge. Northbound 55, you got a backup. Bayless up to River to Pear. Northbound 270, see more volume here. We're starting to slow down. Approaching Tesson Ferry through Gravois. Then Doherty Ferry up to about Clayton Road is busy, and then it sorts itself out. Eastbound Highway 70, TR Hughes to 79 is kind of off the pace right around Cave Springs. If you're southbound on 61, that looks good. 64 is just a little slow at Lake St. Louis Boulevard, a little slow at Clarkson, a little slow at Spady. We have an incident, a crash westbound 64 right near Big Bend right now. There is lane blockage, and there's a backup at Hampton, and that South 170 exit to Scudder is still closed because of an earlier overturned semi. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We'll have plenty of sunshine today. It'll be breezy and warm this afternoon. We're expecting a high near 80. Cloudy and balmy tonight with an overnight low of 61. Sunny skies now, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page scheduled to stand trial today. Page was charged with 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors in July. Those charges came after Page allegedly used county funds to send out flyers opposing a proposition in the April election. Page's legal team argues that flyer was a public funding measure. The trial will take place starting at 1:30 today in Springfield, Missouri, according to our partners at Fox 2.
A teenager faces trial today on charges of armed carjacking. Diamond Bolden of Jennings, Missouri, charged with 5 felonies, including first-degree robbery. Police have not disclosed Bolden's age. Police report that carjacking took place September of last year at a 7-Eleven in Florissant. They say Bolden was one of 4 minors who carjacked another car full of juveniles.
Metrolink passengers stunned by a shattered window Friday night. That happened about 7:30 as the train approached the Central West End station. Writer Christopher Cormier.
Shock and then panic. I think like everyone else, I thought it was a gunshot at first. And as soon as my senses came to me, I'm on the floor with the rest of them. I'm seeing if anyone's okay. I'm having people asking me if I'm okay.
Police say no gunshots were fired, but they aren't sure of the source yet. They're investigating it as property damage.
Still no resolution in the conflict between city officials and the state-controlled Board of Police Commissioners.
Last month, Mayor Kara Spencer said a $250 million police budget would cripple the city and hurt other employees. Now she says the police board has tried to raise the amount from $250 to $333 million. Board President Chris Saraceno says that's just not true.
It would be irresponsible for this board to even think that asking for $333 million is in the best interest of the city. I personally value and see the work that our city workforce does on a day in and day out basis, and they work very hard.
On Friday, workers rallied in front of City Hall over concerns they might lose their jobs. Police Chief Robert Tracy says the police department also needs the city's support so it can attract the best officers available in the job market. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
It is now 7:33. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your Bloomberg Money Minute coming up next.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. There are real things to talk about. I am amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Tax-free edition only. Roughly 37% of filings qualify. Simple form 1040 returns only. Now this is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
Enter a TurboTax free edition. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Your Money Report now. It's sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Traders see a long conflict ahead in the Middle East. Stock futures are sharply lower this morning, with oil smashing through $100 a barrel for the first time in 4 years, and the fallout stoking fears of inflation. Oil surged after Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates started reducing output, though prices pulled back on headlines that G7 finance ministers are said to be preparing to discuss a possible joint release of oil from reserves. Crude right now is up more than 10% to $100 a barrel. And Live Nation is said to be close to a settlement with the Justice Department. And as part of the deal, it won't be required to sell its Ticketmaster business. The federal lawsuit accusing the company of illegally monopolizing the live music industry, and its trial kicked off last week. Under the proposed settlement, Ticketmaster would eliminate some exclusivity with ticketing contracts with concert venues. No comments so far from either side. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Cardinals Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, it's that time of year again, man. It's starting to warm up. And you know the sun's getting a little brighter. I can hear the crack of the bat.
Yeah, the true pros are doing just a little bit of stretching here and there, getting rid of those winter kinks, getting ready for those days that really count, Eddie. I'm talking about the ones you'll always remember at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Boy, now that you got that right. It is all they can do to get ready for the lineup of the delicious eats, man. It's a half-pound Fat Eddie burger. Man, it's a hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and you know the succulent peel and eat shrimp are sitting over there on deck.
You do know I have to stretch out a little bit before I start hitting that dance floor, listening to that live music 7 days a week on that huge outdoor patio.
Well, it's like any other training, man. You got to warm up to get that party face on. It's really difficult out there to have that much fun on that warm, toasty patio. You know, like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, it's Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler here for Burn Balance Complex, which is the latest tool you can find at supplement superstores. It is top of the line. This is a complete metabolism system, not just a fat burner. So you get the metabolism boost, all day focused energy with no jitters or crash. You get help with appetite control and cravings, and it'll reduce stress by lowering cortisol levels. It is a fantastic tool, especially for those who don't want prescriptions or injections. So get out to supplement superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Shows, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here.
Bernie Miklasz joins Rush Hour Sports tonight at 5 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It is now 7:39 and the news continues. Crude oil prices spike near $120 a barrel. Crude prices fell today after the Financial Times reported that members of the Group of Seven industrial nations were considering releasing some strategic oil reserves to ease pressures on supplies. Supply concerns have driven crude and gas prices higher as the war engulfs major oil-producing countries and hinders exports from the Persian Gulf.
The U.S. military kills 6 men in a strike on an alleged drug boat in the Eastern Pacific. The military says it killed 6 men yesterday on a smuggling vessel in the Eastern Pacific Ocean as part of the Trump administration's campaign against alleged traffickers. The attack brought the death toll to at least 157 people since the administration began targeting those it calls narco-terrorists in small vessels in early September. The military posted a video on X that showed a small boat floating on the water and then being blown up.
It is 7:40, time for us to get you a check of traffic and weather. It's a sunny morning, a little breezy. Joe Lundberg will have more details on what that means for your coat options today. But in the meantime, let's see what Roger Brand is seeing for your ride in this morning. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our ramp closure in North County, Debbie, on southbound 170. The ramp to Scudder still closed from the overturned tractor-trailer crash from earlier this morning. Our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route is to get off at Airport Road and take North Hanley to avoid that closure of that ramp. If you're on eastbound 370, 94 through the Discovery Bridge, you got roadwork slowdowns. We have I can't tell if it's a crash or a stall. It's hard to see from the distance, so it looks like it's in the left lane. I mentioned last time up westbound 64 at Big Bend. It's a solid jam back at the Science Center. If you're headed through that area, it's a bumper to bumper. 44 starting to back up at River to Pear. That road work in the right lane creating the problem there. Southbound 170 backs up from the Parkway to 64 at the south end. An incident at the end of the ramp from 270 onto eastbound 64. South 270, that ramp backed up near Ladue. The right lane's to that point. Eastbound 64 approaching Clarkson through Mason. There's a little heavy traffic. North 270, 55 to Tesson Ferry through Gravel, and then 44 all the way up to Ladue is busy. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
We're going to have warm weather today, but we could have some severe weather in a couple of days. Let's get the forecast now from AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg.
Yeah, Megan, it's going to be a beautiful day today with lots of sunshine, a warm breeze already blowing, and temperatures today will head up toward 80 degrees. Overnight tonight should be clear to partly cloudy, and it is going to be milder overnight, though only in the low 60s. One more warm day tomorrow with some sunshine followed by increasing clouds. The humidity is going to come up to the high 82, and that's key to the forecast because as the front approaches tomorrow night, it's going to spark some severe thunderstorms, and that means a risk of hail, damaging wind gusts, flooding downpours, and yes, even the threat of tornadoes are all on the table tomorrow night. For Wednesday, as the front moves through, we'll have rain and a thunderstorm through the morning hours. That should move out in the afternoon, but temperatures start to go south with it, starting at 66 in the morning. Ahead of the front, behind it, we drop to the low 50s. Back to sunny skies Thursday, but it's just going to be a chilly day, the high 56. We rebound to 64 with some sun on Friday. Right now, holding at 53 at St. Peter's, 53 in Florissant. It's sunny and 53 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. It is 7:43. Sports in 2 minutes. U.S. and Israeli air attacks on Iran continue, including strikes on the country's oil facilities. Iran is fighting back, firing missiles at Israel and hitting Persian Gulf nations as well. U.S. officials say now a seventh American has died from these Iranian attacks. CBS News chief correspondent Matt Gutman is in Israel.
Over the weekend, Israel, for the first time, targeting Iran's critical infrastructure. Massive fireballs lit the city with an eerie orange glow. The Red Crescent says over 1,300 have been killed. And in the streets, rivers of fire as oil leaked into Iran's sewage system and ignited. We asked the head of Israel's opposition party why they're targeting energy infrastructure.
This is where the money is coming from, and therefore, if this will be gone, their ability to do this is going to be reduced significantly.
Target destroyed. In response, Iran firing swarms of drones. This oil refinery in Bahrain targeted. Kuwait's social security building turned into a tower of flames. Even Dubai's airport hit.
Oh my God.
Iran now also changing tactics, turning to cluster munitions, several hitting Tel Aviv.
It appears the U.S. may have been behind an airstrike that killed more than 100 children in Iran. Here's CBS's Vicki Barker.
A source who's been briefed on the preliminary intelligence has told CBS News that the bombing of a girls' school in Iran that killed 168 people was likely carried out by the U.S. and not the Israelis. It concludes that the U.S. didn't deliberately target the school, but that whoever ordered the strike was using outdated intelligence from when the area was part of an Iranian military installation. For its part, the White House says no conclusion has yet been drawn and, quote, it is both irresponsible and false for anyone to claim otherwise. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Americans facing rising gas prices as the war with Iran continues. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian.
The conflict is also impacting oil prices, which topped $100 a barrel overnight for the first time in 4 years, while gas prices are up nearly 50 cents over the past week.
It's catching people off guard. Now the gas is going way back up again.
The president predicted they'll eventually drop rapidly. Energy Secretary Chris Wright on Face the Nation.
They shouldn't go much higher than they are here because the world is very well supplied with oil.
I'm Tom Ackerman in Jupiter, Florida with the Cardinals. They take on the Orioles here today. It's a split squad day as the Cardinals will play the Orioles here and they'll play the Astros down in West Palm Beach. We'll have the broadcast today at Cardinals.com of the Cards and the O's with Matthew Liberatore starting for St. Louis. Mike Claiborne and Stephen Carey will join me for that. Andre Palante, 4 strong innings yesterday, 1 run allowed on 2 hits, walked 1, struck out 3. The Cardinals tied the Marlins 2-2 yesterday. In that game, it was Nelson Velasquez getting the start in right field. Cardinals keeping an eye on the non-roster invitee. He's got some power, has 1 home run so far in Grapefruit League play, hitting .278 down here. Joshua Baez, very exciting prospect, no doubt, but maybe pump the brakes just a bit as my conversation with President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom made the rounds. The highly touted prospect's already hit 2 home runs, but the Cardinals do want to see more from him in development. Talk about a guy taking his opportunity and running with it. Joshua Baez gets some at-bats. He blast another one yesterday. I mean, that's one of those guys that you got to sort of rein it in a little bit, I think, and not get too ahead of ourselves when it comes to Baez's future in the big leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm not telling anybody, including myself, not to be super excited about the upside. We just got to remember where he's at and where he's at in his career. And it's funny. I've been asked a lot of questions since being here, particularly around someone like Jordan about, well, did he get up here too fast? Was it right for him to skip AAA? And hindsight is 20/20, but it's important to remember those things when we're talking about someone like Josh, who, again, the upside is sky high. What he did, we've talked about this, what he did in 2025, you just don't see that. And he deserves a ton of credit for being able to run with a plan and actually make meaningful adjustments. And we've gotten to see it in this camp. He can impact the game in every facet. When he squares one up, boy, he's got some pop. And we know we need that. And we need that both short and long term as part of this core. He's going to have every chance to be a part of that. We just got to make sure we're not selling short that journey and making sure we don't skip steps.
Cardinals and the Orioles today at Cardinals.com. Some scores from yesterday. Blues beat the Ducks 4-0 in Anaheim. Illinois beat Maryland 78-72. They'll be the 4 seed Friday in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. And the MVC tournament at Enterprise Center, Northern Iowa is back in the NCAA tournament. They beat UIC 84-69. I'm Tom Ackerman in Jupiter on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
This season, step up to the ultimate game day experience with Cardinals all-inclusive tickets. Enjoy a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views inside Busch Stadium. It's great food with great company for every pitch, hit, and home run. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Proficient Red Jacket Club, and more. See the game like a VIP with all-inclusive tickets. On sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX for the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
St. Louis's unofficial holiday is almost here. It's Cardinals opening day, Thursday, March 27th. And KMOX's Takes and Eggs, presented by Budweiser, is back. This year with a new twist. You don't need a ticket to enjoy KMOX's live broadcast at Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village, featuring Cardinals alumni, front office personnel, special guests, and so much more. Doors open at 9 a.m. Celebrate this hometown holiday with Dirt Cheap and Budweiser. For more details, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM, Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:50, time to get you an update on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I still can't see what's blocking, Megan. I mean, I can see it looked to me like the left lane looking from a distance, westbound 64 just between Bellevue and Big Bend, and it's a solid jam now at Kings Highway on westbound 64. If you're on eastbound 64, you've got heavy traffic from Annie Guns. It goes all the way into about Maryville Center. There's a backup at the end of the ramp from 270 onto eastbound 64 at Ballas there, so that's affecting South 270 back through Olive. Once you get onto eastbound 64, you're backed up approaching 170 again into that incident just past Big Bend on the westbound side. Like I said, I think it's the left lane, so everybody's slowing for a look there. South 170 is slowing from Frost all the way down past Scudder. That Scudder exit's closed because of an overturned semi-crash. After that, it's still slow Ladue to 64. Eastbound 70, K to TR Hughes, Blanchette Bridge and Nurse City's heavy. 370, west of 94 to the Discovery Bridge, you've got slow traffic. North 270, Tesson Ferry all the way up to Ladue is heavy. 55, the usual Bayless up across the river to Pear. Westbound and eastbound 64, west of 159, roadwork slowdowns. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is going to be sunny, breezy, near 80 degrees. And then tomorrow, sunny, breezy, 82 degrees. But some strong storms moving through tomorrow and into tomorrow night will mean that Wednesday is much cooler, 66, but dropping into the 50s. Right now, it's 49 degrees and sunny downtown.
More news now at 7:52. EV sales may be off, but satisfaction is up. Here's Jeff Gilbert.
Brent Gruber studies electric vehicles for JD Power. He says people who own EVs like them a lot.
People who own an electric vehicle have a really high intent to replace it with another electric vehicle. It's been in the 90 percentile for quite some time. In fact, this year it's actually increased. It went from 94% to 96% this year.
Now, many EV owners have hedged their bets with a gasoline-powered vehicle in the other side of the garage. Many of these people are now considering going all electric.
They like these electric vehicles. They've made that adjustment to owning one, and they're open to considering replacing other vehicles within their household with electric vehicles as well.
Gruber says consumers are getting better information on the real-world range of their vehicles. They're also happier with the public charging infrastructure. With the Car Chronicles, I'm Jeff Gilbert, CBS News.
More children are ending up in emergency rooms for serious dental problems. New research looks at why those visits are increasing and how policies from the Trump administration could affect the trend. Here's KFF Health News contributor Angela Zhang.
There are several policies in the Trump administration that we felt like could impact this even further. One is the Big Beautiful Bill, which calls for a lot of cuts to Medicaid, which may force states to limit or even drop dental coverage. And I will be clear that this actually won't affect children explicitly. Children will keep their dental benefits. But actually what's interesting is that research has shown that when parents or caregivers lose their Medicaid, their kids are less likely to have dental care.
Can cats be used as therapy animals?
When you think of therapy animals, a golden retriever may come to mind. But now research from Washington State University finds that cats may be able to handle the same job.
Some cats are a little bit different in that they seem to really enjoy socializing with people, hanging out with people.
University researcher Dr. Patricia Pendry says don't underestimate kitty cats.
They're actually quite similar. Dogs and cats can behave in a very similar way if they have certain behavioral traits.
Stephen Kaufman, CBS News.
It is 7:54, and there is a growing concern in Missouri for an allergy called alpha-gal, which is caused by the bite of a certain tick. Eden Stewart, nutrition and health specialist with the University of Missouri Extension, spoke with MissouriNet about what you need to know.
Alpha-gal syndrome is a food allergy. It's kind of a unique food allergy because people become allergic to mammal-based meats or dairies or byproducts. So the majority of people who have alpha-gal syndrome can just avoid those mammal-based meats. So those are things like beef, pork, venison, rabbit.
So some people with alpha-gal have to avoid meat, but also have to avoid dairy, like everything from yogurt, butter, and milk. And then there's a third group that also have to stay clear of collagen. That's an animal, the animal base in gelatin, which is in many products.
Mayor Kara Spencer and Fred Bird kicking off 314 week today. The pair will be attending the annual coffee kickoff at Latte Lounge in Midtown today, starting at 9 a.m. Celebrations and events will be held across the city all week long and will come to a close on 314 Day, which falls this year on Saturday.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, we got to get Fred Bird down here in Jupiter, Florida. That's all I'm saying. The Cardinals are practicing and training down here. Fred Bird, I think, was at the reserve at Wildwood ribbon cutting when McKelvey Homes did that not long ago, last month. McKelvey Homes always seems to be cutting ribbons, opening new home sites ready for you. The reserve at Wildwood is one of those. In Cottleville, they have Cottleville Trails. In O'Fallon, Missouri, they have Summerlin. They have Strawberry Farms. That's going on right now in O'Fallon. It is just a fantastic thing right now what McKelvey Homes has done. They have opened up homes all over the area. Let me tell you a little bit about Summerlin and O'Fallon. $10,000 free cash at closing, plus the lowest fixed rate financing of the year. And then they have what's called the 1898 sale. 1898 is the year McKelvey Homes was founded, and they're offering $18,980 a sale to be on to-be-built homes. They have free cash to close. They have special financing rates as low as 4.99%. You got to go to McKelvey Homes to check it all out. Missouri's oldest home builder. Move up to McKelvey, McKelveyhomes.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Ever notice how your floors still look dirty, even after you mop?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Swiffer Power Mop gives you a deeper clean you can actually see.
I'm listening.
Unlike string mops, Swiffer Power Mop absorbs more dirt and locks it away, even in those hard-to-reach spots.
Like behind the toilet?
Exactly. The new micro scrubbers deliver thousands of tiny deep cleaning actions, so your floors look, smell, and feel clean.
Bye-bye, dirty floors. Hello, Swiffer Power Mop.
Try the Swiffer Power Mop. Love it or your money back.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Let's head back to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, how's it look out there?
No, I still got our incident. Looks like they may be clearing it, though, Megan. Westbound 64 before Big Bend. It's a solid jam at the Science Center. Eastbound has delays beginning at McKnight into that area. It's impacting South 170 at the south end. Heavy pockets from Delmar down to 64. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Monday. It is the 9th of March. I'm Debbie Monterrey. A former software developer is helping small towns fight data centers. We'll get you more on that at 8:11.
Are you choosing the right balance of foods to fuel your body? We'll walk the grocery aisles with a registered dietitian. That's coming up at 8:23.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A sunny day today, breezy and warm this afternoon with a high near 80.
Coming up in CBS News, President Trump rejecting Iran's newly named supreme leader as unacceptable and says that he should be the one to name the next leader of Iran. That and more coming your way with CBS News at the Tone. It's 8 o'clock in Mid-America.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Head to the gas station today and you'll pay an average $3.48 for a gallon of regular. That's up 50 cents from more than a week ago. And oil prices are skyrocketing too as the war with Iran enters day 10. Team coverage begins with correspondent Nicole Killian on Capitol Hill.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is demanding President Trump immediately tap into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to help lower prices at the pump. But the Energy Secretary said the administration would only do it if needed. The president set to address House Republicans at his Doral resort later today.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Oil prices are on track for their biggest ever jump in a single day as the U.S. and Israel redouble their attacks on Iran, with oil depots among the targets.
The question everyone is asking themselves is, what is the duration of this conflict?
Analyst Paul Gooden.
The longer it goes on, the more nervous the oil markets are going to be.
G7 finance ministers reportedly holding an emergency meeting today to discuss releasing emergency oil reserves in an attempt to slow the pace of the oil price rise.
In Tehran, thousands clamoring to pledge their allegiance to the late Ayatollah's son, Mujtaba, who's been chosen to replace him as supreme leader. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth tells CBS's 60 Minutes.
This is not a remaking of the Iranian society from an American perspective. We tried that. The American people have rejected that. President Trump called those wars dumb, and we're not fighting that way.
A long-delayed plaque honoring the officers who responded to the January 6th riots has finally been hung on Capitol Hill. Correspondent Scott McFarland.
A federal law required the plaque to be hung by March 2023, so they are 3 years late. When it happened unexpectedly over the weekend at 4 a.m. Saturday, the plaque was placed on the west front of the Capitol inside.
The FBI on the case after officials say improvised explosive devices were thrown during rival anti-Islam protests outside Mayor Zohran Mamdani's home in New York City. An 18-year-old allegedly threw one into the crowd. 3 people taken into custody. CBS's Jerika Duncan at Gracie Mansion.
Investigators are now looking into whether they were inspired by ISIS extremist messaging. The devices appear to be a jar wrapped in black tape along with a hobby fuse.
A settlement in the government's case against a concert and ticketing giant. CBS News confirms Live Nation Ticketmaster, which reps stars like Harry Styles, has agreed to pay nearly $300 million in damages to 40 states that sued, accusing the company of a monopoly. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Sunny skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, March 9th. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page scheduled to stand trial today on counts of 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors. The charges come after Page allegedly used county funds to send out flyers opposing a proposition in the April election. Page's legal team argues the flyer was a public funding measure. That trial takes place today at 1:30. A teenager facing trial today for armed carjacking from last fall. Diamond Bolden of Jennings, Missouri, charged with 5 felonies, including first-degree robbery. Police have not disclosed Bolden's age. They report the carjacking took place in September of last year at a 7-Eleven in Florissant. Police accuse Bolden of being one of 4 minors who carjacked another car full of juveniles. The state and city remain at odds over how much money the St. Louis Police Department should get.
The state-controlled Board of Police Commissioners has asked for a $250 million budget. Mayor Kara Spencer has said that would cripple the city, and she's accused the board of asking for another $83 million. The board denies that. Police Chief Robert Tracy says all city employees deserve support, but his primary concern is the safety of St. Louis residents.
We need enough money to run the police department. It keeps us safe. We need enough money to recruit police officers. We all know we're down with police officers. We need enough money to retain police officers.
Tracy says roughly a third of current officers are eligible for retirement. Mayor Spencer says a police budget that's too big would force mass layoffs of other city workers. Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
While St. Louis City is pushing voters to reauthorize earnings tax, could Jefferson City bring back their efforts to eliminate it?
Mayor Kara Spencer says after the upcoming April election, she plans to form a team with the intention of diversifying the city's revenue. Could that mean new taxes? I asked the mayor.
We could be looking at that. I mean, we're going to be having a more robust community-centered conversation about that before moving anything forward. So it's really going to be taking a look at what options are out there. Many of those streams are taxes, as you pointed out.
The earnings tax is a 1% tax on those who work in the city. It will appear on the April 7th ballot. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Another member of the U.S. military has died as part of the conflict in Iran. The Army soldier died from injuries sustained earlier this month after an Iranian attack on a Saudi military base.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, an Operation Iraqi Freedom War veteran, says President Trump is marching the U.S. closer and closer to another protracted, bloody conflict now in Iran.
Trump is handing a gift to bad actors like Russia and the PRC, as his never-ending chaos makes it harder for our armed forces to focus on defending our critical interests in places like the Indo-Pacific.
Duckworth adds, quote, "The president's actions have not put America first. They have made the situation for America worse." Maria Akita, KMOX News.
Missouri seeing more cases of alpha-gal syndrome, the allergy triggered by a tick bite. People who have it can't eat meats such as beef, venison, pork, or rabbit. They also could be allergic to dairy and other byproducts. Eden Stewart, nutrition and health specialist with the University of Missouri Extension, tells Missouri Net the Show Me State is a hotspot for alpha-gal.
Alongside Missouri, Arkansas is pretty high on alpha-gal syndrome as well. I think there's a couple of things. We have a lot of wooded areas. You know, Missouri is beautiful. We have lots of hills and hollows around in Missouri. We also engage in a lot of outdoor activity.
Stewart says Missouri is also a large producer of cattle, and that makes Missouri more susceptible to alpha-gal syndrome. 2 kudu calves born at the St. Louis Zoo. They are named Mabel and Millie. Lesser kudus are the symbol of the St. Louis Zoo. They also belong to a family of mammals that includes bison and cattle. They usually live in the woodlands of East Africa. Mabel will make her public debut at Red Rocks in coming weeks. Millie will make her debut later this spring. From the KMOX business desk, Clayco not only becoming a major player in the construction of data centers, they're now the largest company doing it with their own dedicated energy unit, Clayco Power and Energy. Demand for electricity expected to surge by as much as 20% by the year 2030, driven in part by data center growth. According to the Business Journal, the launch of the new unit came the same day the Trump administration released a ratepayer protection pledge, that pledge signed by the country's 7 largest tech companies. It includes a promise to build their own energy sources for data centers instead of relying on the public grid and raising electrical rates for everyone. It's now 8:08. Traffic and weather in 2 minutes here on KMOX.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new brick you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623.
Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate. Evans is a proven fighter and the only candidate for U.S. Senate with guts and know-how to get the job done. As an attorney, she took on China and corporate criminals. Jeannie Evans won billions for working families. As senator, Evans will fight and win for you. She'll work to cut taxes and lower the cost of living. Evans believes that keeping Illinois safe will take more than just wishful thinking. It takes courage, and Jeannie Evans has the record to prove it. Evans will always be tough on crime. She'll hold China accountable for trafficking fentanyl and stealing our personal data. Jeannie Evans puts America first. A proven fighter. Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate.
I'm Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Illinois.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10, let's see where the problem spots are in your morning rush. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got that ramp closure, Megan. Southbound 170 to Scudder. The ramp's closed because of an overturned semi-crash from earlier this morning. Traffic's backed up past Airport Road. You can get off at Airport Road and take North Hanley for an alternate there. Southbound 170 is also slow from Olive down to 64. If you're on eastbound Highway 64, looks great out west, but it is heavy from about Annie Guns, backed up through Clarkson. And then east of there to about Maryville Center is busy. It backs up again. McKnight in through Big Bend. They did clear that incident westbound before Big Bend. Traffic still jammed the Science Center out to McCausland, though, on that run. Westbound 44 is jammed approaching Jamison out to River to Pear. Eastbound 44 home to Laclede Station's a little busy. North 270, a slowdown at Gravois. Then north of Big Bend all the way up to Ladue is kind of heavy there. Northbound 55 has thinned out coming in really from Festus all the way into downtown. And downtown we're okay. The only thing is just a slowdown westbound 64 past 159 right now. Next update at 8:20 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny today. Breezy and warm this afternoon with a high close to the record of 80 set in 1925. For tonight, partly cloudy and very mild, though 61. Tomorrow, some sun, then increasing clouds, breezy, warm, and a bit more humid in the afternoon, the high 82. Look for severe thunderstorms late tomorrow or tomorrow night. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We have sunny skies this morning, 50 degrees in Florissant. It's 51 in St. Peter's, 50 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Residents of Troy, Illinois have been pushing back against a data center proposal in their community. They've enlisted someone from the tech world to help them fight back. He'll offer advice from people around the region at a forum tonight. Prescott Balch is a retired technology executive who successfully thwarted a data center development in his own town.
Yeah, I am absolutely not anti-data center. I made a really good living writing software that would run in data centers. So I don't object to them. If we need them, and we do, we need to find the right place for them. And when one proposal landed in my own backyard, a rural community that guards its open space fiercely, we didn't like what we saw. It was landscape changing. It was going to overwhelm the footprint of the total valuation of the village. It was a big risk. Hyperscale data centers are a new thing for the industry. They keep getting bigger and bigger, and we were worried about what they were going to potentially do with the building long term. It was in a terrible location, and the list just went on and on with things that I knew were risks. It's really easy to look at a dollar figure and be enamored by the possibility of such a large tax revenue from one single taxpayer, but you have to understand the risks of getting there, and you have to understand the risks that follow. Don't just listen to what the developer tells you, because that will no doubt be a rosy picture.
You know, in this particular case in Troy, the way that the company was trying to sell this was the fact that they had easy access to electrical lines. You know, they had all that land available to do what they wanted with it. It was kind of next to a commercial area, and that it would bring in that tax revenue. Are those necessarily bad arguments?
No, they're just not a complete picture. I find in a lot of my discussions with communities that there are perfectly factual statements being made, like you will get a lot of construction activity out of this, and that will generate some temporary economic activity. That's all true. It is also true that if the buildings are completed on schedule, they will produce for some period of time an eye-watering tax revenue number, where there's misleading information, maybe by omission sometimes, and other times by overt exaggeration, are on things like, well, what happens if the industry really is overbuilding? What if that eye-watering number gets reduced in half because you realize we've overbuilt AI data centers and now we don't need as many, and the price of them goes down, and so the valuation goes down, and so the tax revenue goes down. Those are all risks that just don't come out in the marketing materials. There's also an exaggeration of jobs, permanent jobs. The statistics in Northern Virginia are 18 permanent jobs per building over a very large, statistically significant sample of 549 data centers. The industry is always going to pitch a rosy picture of all of those things. They're going to leave out the risks. So no, what they're offering is not untrue necessarily. It might be a little exaggerated, but it's all the stuff, the risks that they leave out, that are the risks that a community might encounter over time, everywhere from lower valuation to outright obsolescence of the building. And that's the picture that I'm trying to paint. Just let's tell the full story and let communities make their own decisions.
As you have now talked to many of these communities, do you feel like these public officials are really equipped to properly vet these developers, and also that they have the legal tools within their ordinances to manage projects like this?
No, I think they're for the most part, they're in over their heads. And I think the best case scenario is they realize they're in over their heads. They can't not be in over their heads. Fortune 100 companies have more travel and entertainment expense for lawyers than villages have total revenue. It's not a fair fight. And the healthy small community is going to realize they're in over their head and either find some way to prevent them from coming to town, or they're going to at least seek additional help. But there's just no way that they can negotiate good deals. They are not equipped, and I'm not bumped into one that is anywhere close to equipped. And I've seen some really bad deals come out of those discussions where the local officials believe that they have the skills themselves, or they have enough help from third parties to be able to negotiate the deals, and the deals are just terrible.
Prescott, if small towns like this that have the land and means to access infrastructure aren't the place for these data centers, where is?
Yeah. So in order for me to be consistent and say we need them somewhere, I have a ready answer for this, because I would be disingenuous if I didn't. I think the industry has a problem. So they're building data centers that are 1 million square feet. The campus is 2-3 million square feet. And that requires an immense amount of land, contiguous land. And you can only find that contiguous land, not just for cheap, but you just can't find it, period, except in small rural towns. So one of the major risks of putting these facilities in these small towns is the financial concentration risk that generates for the small town. Do you want to have half your tax revenue coming from a single taxpayer? That has almost never ended well, particularly in Rust Belt states that know that problem all too well. So my answer is one of two things. Assuming the size of the buildings can't change, which I'll come back to, but assuming the size of the buildings can't change, they need to be in a town that is large enough to be able to absorb the loss of tax revenue if something goes wrong, the valuation drops a lot, or building is obsolete. And that's probably at least a 50,000 person town, just rough order of magnitude. The second type of place that can do it is a place that goes in eyes wide open, knowing what the risks are, and likely wants to do a lot of them. There's several communities across the country that have decided to go all in. They might not have thought they were going all in on data center number one, but they did data center number one and then decided, yeah, we like this construction activity, so let's do a lot of them. We're desperate. Maybe a big employer left town and things are a little depressed around town, and they made a conscious decision to go all in. That's fine too, as long as you're making the decision eyes wide open and you know what the risks are. More power to you. But coming back to the size problem, I think the industry has a problem. I think they're limiting the number of places where it's healthy to put these by making them so large. And I understand that making more of them but smaller has its own problems. But just because it's most convenient to build them multi-million square feet doesn't mean small communities have to just roll over and say, yeah, fine, build it here. If it's too big of a risk for those small communities, I think the industry would do well to try to realize the rock and hard place problem that they have with the scale of the buildings today.
That's Prescott Balch, who worked for more than 3 decades as a corporate software developer. Tonight's forum hosted by Troy Residents for Responsible Growth. It starts at 6 at the Edwardsville Moose Lodge. Let's get you updated on the roads with Roger Brand. Now he's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we got slow traffic on South 170 coming down from Scudder to 70. That Scudder exit closed from an overturned semi from earlier this morning. It's also slow Olive down to the Parkway, and then it backs up from the U Club Tower getting on to 64. Eastbound 64 still on the brakes through the Chesterfield Parkways. There's a little slowdown at Ballas, and then it's heavy east of Lindbergh through the Innerbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton headed out through Big Bend is pretty busy. North 270, just Doherty Ferry up to Ladue now, so that's better. Westbound 44, you still have that roadwork jam. Let's call it west of Jamison now across the river to Pear. And westbound 64 through 159 thinned out, and it looks great across the Poplar for Illinois drivers. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunny, breezy, and warm this afternoon. Expect a high of 80. Right now we have sunshine, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Business moves fast.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. Dr. Jean Wang, a WashU Medicine gastroenterologist at Siteman Cancer Center.
Once you're 45 and over, even if you're not having symptoms or even if you don't have a family history, we recommend everyone get screened for colorectal cancer because everyone is at risk. Everyone is at risk, even if you're not having symptoms.
This is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and for more information, you can visit siteman.wustl.edu.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
You're back with Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. If your family's like ours, you may end up in the grocery store multiple times a week. And I often wonder if I'm making the best choices. Well, you've heard registered dietitian Michelle Wilson of Brands Nutrition on this show frequently. We decided to walk the aisles of our local grocer together. And today we talk about some of the first things we see as we walk in the door.
So how much do you love the fact that the first thing that we typically see when we walk in a grocery store is produce?
I think it's amazing. I think that a lot of times whenever people go grocery shopping, sometimes they're like hungry. And so if we want to catch the attention of our hunger, it can be a great idea to like have some produce first. So choosing fruits and vegetables can be really great to have a variety of micronutrients. But it can also be a little overwhelming, especially if you don't know how to prepare things. So it can be a great stop for sure.
What are the best produce and fruit?
The best produce would be the ones that you enjoy. So we have a variety of micronutrients, but if you're forcing yourself to eat kale and you hate kale, then it's not really going to work out for you. Another mistake people might make is maybe they're wanting to eat healthier. They stock up on a bunch of produce and then they waste it. So it ends up going into the garbage. They have a whole big stock of it and then don't know what to do with it or don't eat it right away. And then they get really discouraged of like, I spent all this money on food and then I have to throw it all out. I don't know what I was thinking. And then the other thing would be if people incorporate a lot more fiber all at once, it makes it a little difficult for things to move through. So you got to stay hydrated if you're incorporating more fiber.
Fantastic. What about when we look at dried fruits? Do they have as much benefit to our bodies?
Absolutely. So all of the same nutrients are still there, but some of them do have added sugars to them. So just being mindful of how that is, but it can be an amazing sweet treat. It also doesn't have as much fluid in it. So that hydration piece that we would normally get from fruits and vegetables aren't going to be in the dehydrated versions.
I can already smell the bakery section. How can we be wise about what we choose from the bakery section?
So with the bakery section, it can be nice to look for things that have fruits and or nuts involved in with them. So things like muffins might have a little bit more of that nutrient variety to them, but there's room for everything. All foods fit. So making sure that we're honoring our cravings and choosing our favorite things to incorporate, and then balancing them out with protein and or fiber to help our blood sugar stay more stable.
What about a donut?
A donut is delicious. A donut is great. A donut can be a part of a well-balanced breakfast. And maybe you have some milk with it, some nuts, some fruit, and then you can have it to be more balanced out, but you don't always have to balance it.
Does it help sometimes if we do allow ourselves those kinds of treats?
Absolutely. If you don't allow yourself to have those treats, it's going to cause yourself to have more cravings later. So like, let's say you're like, no, I'm going to be good today. I'm not going to have a donut for breakfast. But then for the rest of the day, you're like, maybe I'll have a little bit of this candy, or maybe I'm going to have a little bit extra dessert or things like that. But then it's like, ultimately you didn't get that donut that you wanted. So you're kind of still chasing it.
So enjoy that donut this morning with your fruits and nuts. Tomorrow, Michelle and I will hit the deli section. It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
At Gray Bar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Gray Bar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
When you've been injured in an accident, hurt on the job, or in a medical mishap, there are many reasons to call Morgan & Morgan. But here's reason number 5. We try more cases than anyone in America by a wide margin. We are on approximately 150 dockets a week and win a lot. Go to forthepeople.com to see our verdicts and results. I believe our results give you the best chance of a fair, fast, and just settlement. Insurance companies know who we are by reputation. Imagine me doing this ad if it wasn't true. They would be laughing. Trust me, nobody is laughing. Their employees and adjusters often hire us when they're hurt. They know, and now you know. All law firms are not alike, not even close. With over $30 billion collected for our clients, we became America's largest injury firm for a reason. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
8:30, time for another check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I've only got one jam right now, Megan, and one trouble spot. It's a crash we've got on eastbound 70 east of 270. The left lane's closed. Yeah, it's just the left lane. 2 right lanes are open. It's jammed back to almost 5th Street right now on eastbound 70, so I have a little patience there. South 170 looks better coming down through Scudder. It's still heavy, though, from the Parkway to 64. Eastbound Highway 64 east of Lindbergh, still slow into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, still busy. North 270, Manchester up to Ladue is busy. Westbound 44, you still have that road work back up west of Jameson. Out across the river to Paris, Shrewsbury, the right lane's closed through there. The road work on the Illinois side, 64 through Fairview Heights, looks good, and we're clear downtown across the bridges. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
From From the Salika Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, looks like we'll have plenty of sunshine. It'll be breezy and warm this afternoon. We'll reach a high near 80. Tonight, partly cloudy, balmy, a low of 61. And then tomorrow, we'll start off with some clouds, breezy and warm, more humid in the afternoon. A high of 82 degrees. By tomorrow night, we could see some thunderstorms. Right now, we have 50 degrees under sunny skies downtown at the Arch. Let's get the latest on the conflict in Iran. AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports oil prices spiked near $120 a barrel as the Iran war disrupts production and shipping in the Middle East.
The rapidly rising oil price is causing stock market prices to fall. The leading index in Germany, the DAX, slumped by more than 2.5% to 22,927 points in the opening minutes early Monday. It briefly reached its lowest level since May 2025, but has somewhat rebounded. Tim Exner, capital markets expert at Sturbing AG, tells the AP investors' fears of a major crash remain. The longer the war continues, the greater the concerns about inflation and growth will naturally become, especially as long as oil prices remain high. Oil prices have risen by around 50% since the outbreak of the war, he says. Crude prices fell back Monday after the Financial Times reported the members of the G7 industrial nations were considering releasing some oil reserves to ease pressure on supplies. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
100 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors. A century of trust in St. Louis. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for same-day repair service and no extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Trust your friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorstlouis.com.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Still ahead on Total Information AM, the biggest killer in the United States is childhood trauma. Debbie Monterrey speaks with a former NASA and Johnson & Johnson engineer who crunched the numbers and is sounding the alarm. First, though, let's get a check of your money report. It's sponsored by Eamon Gettler and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks are tumbling this morning with the Middle East conflict sending oil above $100 a barrel. The geopolitical flare-up is adding stress to markets that are already under pressure from artificial intelligence and how that technology may disrupt a number of industries. On the agenda for investors this week is a key report on inflation after Friday's dismal jobs picture. Consumer price data will be released on Wednesday, but the February report covers a time before the outbreak of the war in Iran and its impact on gasoline prices. Speaking of that, the price at the pump nationwide, $3.48 a gallon, according to AAA. That is a gain of 57 cents in the past month. In other news, the intersection between faith and finance is expanding. Faith-based money management has grown significantly over the past decade. These products select assets that align with religious values, and in some cases, use shareholder clout to influence company policies. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
If you live in Missouri, have Medicaid, and need a caregiver, this message is important. Care at home is personal. That's why you may not want a stranger in your home to take care of you. You want someone who already knows you and your daily routines. With Freedom Care, you choose a trusted family member, a friend, or a neighbor. They will get paid after every shift to care for you, and it's 100% free to you. More than 70,000 people have already joined the Freedom Care family. Call your local Freedom Care. They'll check your Medicaid eligibility. Don't wait until a stranger shows up at your door. If you have Medicaid and need help at home, this care is available 100% free to you. Call Freedom Care now to see if you qualify. 314-907-0892. 314-907-0892. That's 314-907-0892.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
In 1991, John and Cindy Morelli started Morelli Tuck Pointing. As of today, they've won just about every award possible for the tuck pointing business. The BBB Torch Award, the Next Door Neighborhood Fave Award, and an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. For homeowners, this is a great time to get a free inspection of your basement, your brick or stone fireplace, your garage interior, your porch, and maybe even your walkway. Indoor tuck pointing can be started now. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. My wife Beth and I have used Morelli Tuck Pointing to work on 2 of our homes now over the last 25 years. We have found the Morelli bids to be fair, their crews are very polite, and they clean up after themselves. But most importantly, their work is beautiful. Family owned and operated since 1991. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Take a thrilling ride with your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra to the far reaches of space in John Williams and Kevin Putt's A Cosmic Journey. Experience Kevin Putt's otherworldly concerto, Contact, featuring the Grammy Award-winning trio Time for Three. Then soar through the unforgettable music from John Williams' iconic film scores, including E.T. and Star Wars. March 20th and 22nd at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. You know, they do such a great job. Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes now. This month, buy one, get one room of carpet clean for free. Unlimited rooms of carpet. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and let them know that Dave sent you.
St. Louis's unofficial holiday is almost here. It's Cardinals opening day, Thursday, March 27th. And KMOX's Kegs and Eggs, presented by Budweiser, is back. This year with a new twist. You don't need a ticket to enjoy KMOX's live broadcast at Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village, featuring Cardinals alumni, front office personnel, special guests, and so much more. Doors open at 9 a.m. Celebrate this hometown holiday with Dirt Cheap and Budweiser. For more details, KMOX.com/events.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Oil prices have spiked near $120 a barrel as the Iran war disrupts oil production and shipping in the Middle East. There's speculation, but no confirmation, that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will get married June 13th near her home in Rhode Island. And Disney and Pixar's new film Hoppers leading the North American box office, making $46 million in its first week domestically, $88 million globally after adding in international receipts. More now on the roads for you with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our trouble on eastbound Highway 70, Megan. This traffic reports the service of S&O Coins. Still working this crash in the left lane, eastbound 70, just east of 270. 2 right lanes are open. It's a solid jam at 5th Street. And the right lanes, north 270, midway up from Dorset to 70 are slow, trying to get onto eastbound 70. Other than that, north 270 still has a couple of slow spots. Manchester up to Ladue. Eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh into Big Bend, still heavy. South 170 backs up near the Parkway. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, a couple of slow spots. And westbound 44 west of Jameson and out through Shrewsbury's backed up due to road work there. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
It's going to be very warm out there today. We're expecting a high near 80, which is close to a record set in 1925. Otherwise, sunny, breezy, and warm, partly cloudy, balmy tonight with an overnight low of 61, and then more humidity tomorrow with a high of 82. We have sunny skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM on this Monday. Here's Debbie Monterrey.
What are the leading causes of death in the United States? Heart disease, cancer, accidents? Well, Michael Menard is an engineer looking at this from a different angle. He says the leading cause of death in this country is actually none of those things. Michael, what is it?
Well, it is our childhood, the roots of our childhood trauma, classic childhood trauma, not just disappointments, but childhood trauma of abuse, neglect, dysfunctional family setting. is killing about 1,401 Americans every day, and that's not opinion. That's math. That's science. It's 500,000 people a year that are dying from the root cause of childhood trauma. And I can tell you why. I can tell you how it happens if you want to dive deeper into it. But it is the data that's being released actually March 19th is going to be sharing this with the medical and the policymakers of the United States, that it should be a shock.
You have a book out called Greater Than Gravity, How Childhood Trauma is Pulling Down Humanity. And I know there's been a lot of research in the last, I'd say, decade or so about the impact of childhood trauma, but it's still not getting through to a lot of people how pervasive this is and how lifelong its impacts can be. So what things can we attribute to childhood trauma?
Yep. The reason I made the discovery is that I lost two brothers at a young age to heroin. And I thought it was because they made bad choices. The reality now that I found is that they were self-medicating wounds that no one could see that came from childhood trauma. I had those same wounds. And so that led me down this research trail that says when a child experiences those classic types of trauma, neglect is a very serious one. That means going without the things you need emotionally and physically. Abuse, it could be mental abuse, it could be physical abuse, it could be sexual abuse. Those things change the brain chemistry of the child. It changes their hormonal system. It changes their immune system. And they end up getting their thermostat stuck on the response, which is not, we should do that if a bear is chasing us, but imagine if the bear lives with you. So these changes take place over, until you're 18, 20 years old, and it changes how you think. It changes how you feel. It causes, now I've discovered also that childhood trauma is the number one cause of addiction in the United States today. And I only have data in the United States, but I think it's prevalent for the world. 95% of every addict, this is based on 30,000 interviews, have experienced childhood trauma. If you've experienced 4 or more of those, you're going to get sick mentally, sick physically. And if you have 6 or more of those, of the 10, you will die 20 years too soon.
So what we always tell people who, have had traumatic childhoods, we just say, you just need to get over it. Just pull yourself up by the bootstraps, move forward. Right. So what people are doing essentially is they are coping in whatever way they can, which usually is not a healthy coping mechanism.
That's exactly right. And when someone who has suffered is told, get over yourself, pull yourself up, that just re-traumatizes them. It makes them feel as if there's something wrong with them that someone doesn't understand. And if they could pull themselves up by the bootstraps, they would have, right? Everyone's doing the best they can. But if they're trying to compensate for something that had to do with a neurobiological wound, they're almost helpless. But if you've reached a point where the dysfunction, the disease, the illness is greater than what you can overcome yourself, you need professional intervention. And we need to normalize the need for therapy.
Now, you grew up in Kankakee, Illinois, right? You were one of 14 kids, and you'd mentioned that 2 of your brothers, their coping mechanism was heroin. It sounds like yours was maybe, perfectionism, workaholism. You've got, you're a former vice president of worldwide engineering at Johnson & Johnson and an advisor to NASA and the United Nations. So
you hit on it. There's a term called the paradox of childhood trauma. Of the 14, I lost 2 brothers to the worst outcome of trauma. There's another handful of siblings that now, based on this research, we all understand why they are the way they are, why the level of unhappiness on some of them is really great, why some of them are medically really falling apart and others are not. I'll be honest, I didn't escape the disorder. I suffered hunger as a child because of poverty and neglect. And for 5 decades, I turned to food for comfort. I suffered obesity until I figured out what it was. But my real disorder was my workaholism and my need to accomplish. I felt best when I was buried in challenges and tasks. I now know that's not healthy, and that's not going to help me live long and live happily. There were parents who have traumatized their children, not even knowing they were doing it, by the things they said and the things they did. And it increases the probability that those children, primarily the sons, will end up in incarceration. It's all data now, and we need to expose it to say, we've created a freight train. We've created a pathway to incarceration that keeps our prisons full, which is unlike any country in the world. And we just keep re-traumatizing. We don't even realize it. So while you say there's been awareness, there has been a lot more awareness. If you look at what's actually been done to change the world, to change the United States, to make us better and healthier, we've done not one thing. So, this book is my way of a couple things: hitting the panic button. I've connected dots that people have not connected before. I've got, verification from experts in the world that this is efficacious, where this data is endorsed, and they're basically embarrassed that it took an engineer to make these discoveries for this wake-up call.
The book is called Greater Than Gravity: How Childhood Trauma is Pulling Down Humanity. The author is Michael Menard, who says childhood trauma is the #1 cause of death in America, killing 1,400 Americans every day. It is definitely food for thought, and thank you for this wake-up call, Michael, and I appreciate the time today.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thanks for helping spread the word.
Thank you, Debbie. Coming up on Total Information AM, you have a lot of stuff in your house that could poison your pets. We're going to talk with Dr. Katie Groom. She's Senior Medical Director at the Veterinary Emergency Group in Brentwood and St. Peter. She's going to give us some tips.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
Welcome back to Jupiter. Tom Ackerman with you. In St. Louis, word of mouth still matters. And I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for a long time now, about 20 years. And the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. The Lederman Law Firm helps make sure your plan works because, let's be honest, life changes. Family needs, circumstances change, laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as those things change. They're outdated. They sit in a drawer. People assume their estate plan is fine and it'll work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it is not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets. That's why I'm comfortable recommending the Lederman Law Firm. Check them out at ledermanlaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks for joining me this morning for Total Information AM. Well, we have pets, and if you do as well, you know that there are some everyday household dangers that can put them at risk. This is Pet Poison Awareness Month. Dr. Katie Groom is Senior Medical Director at Veterinary Emergency Group in Brentwood and St. Peter's, joining us now on KMOX. Good morning, Dr. Groom.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So what kind of things around the house do put our pets at risk of poisoning?
So it's interesting because I think there's a lot of things we don't think of. I mean, we think of the typical things like plants and chocolate and grapes and raisins, but other things that I think people really don't think about is so much of our food and our medications have turned to being sugar-free, which contains xylitol, and that is something that can be very toxic to our pets. So really, like human medications, there's a whole slew of things. I always tell people, when in doubt, either, give your vet a call, or, I feel ASPCA Pet Poison Helpline also can help provide information. But there's a whole lot of items that can make our pets sick in our house that we often don't think about.
I think a lot of times we think, oh, our animals won't eat those things. But for my house, if we drop it on the floor, it's gone. So I can see how there are,
100%.
how there are risks of that. I used to hear that, for example, antifreeze in the garage was a risk to dogs. Is that the case?
Yes, and it's often got a sweet taste, so it's also very enticing. But antifreeze, even in tiny amounts, is very deadly to dogs and cats, and we've seen cases of cats that have drank it as well. So yeah, very, very deadly. It ultimately causes neurologic signs and kidney failure, and if you don't catch it within the first 3 to 4 hours, it's often fatal.
Dr. Groom, it's the time of year too when people are putting a lot of things on their yards. I'm thinking, of some pre-emergent weed killers and fertilizers. Are those a risk to our pets?
Yeah. So the good news is most of those don't typically cause serious toxicity, but they can cause GI signs. So vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal discomfort. And they can also sometimes be like caustic to their paws and cause some irritation on the skin and paws as well.
I want to get back to the chocolate issue. There's some people that don't quite believe this. How much chocolate is too much chocolate for an animal?
Yeah, so this is where it gets fun. So your milk chocolate, so your white chocolate is not real chocolate. It does not have the toxic components. So white chocolate can cause GI upset and pancreatitis, but is not directly toxic. Your milk chocolate is toxic in large quantities, and it's obviously dependent on size. It's going to take a lot less for, a Chihuahua than it will a Great Dane. But when you get into your like baker's chocolate, your dark chocolate, those contain a lot more of the toxic components, theobromine and caffeine, that make dogs sick. So the richer the chocolate, and typically the less tasty if you're a person like me who likes milk and white chocolate, the more dangerous it is. So it's all based on size. And if your pet does ingest chocolate, this is a case where I would recommend, again, calling your vet, calling veg, calling anyone, and just getting a feel for how much did my pet ingest, and based on the weight, is this going to be a problem?
Are there any other risks this time of year to animals?
Oh, yeah. So this is the time of year I feel like where with Easter coming upon us, we get a lot of beautiful bouquets in our house. Lilies are a huge concern. And a lot of times you get these beautiful bouquets, and even like as a cat owner myself, I forget about that. But a cat even smelling lilies can cause ingestion, inhalation of the pollen. And that is enough. They don't even have to eat per se the flower or the leaves for it to be toxic, and that will cause kidney failure in cats, and again can be very, very deadly. So that's a huge thing, with Easter baskets, chocolate, and then a lot of our foods that we cook, meals, barbecues, it's that time of year, can also be dangerous to your pets.
So you've given us some of the symptoms that our animals might have. Obviously they can't tell us if they feel really, really sick. So what do we need to watch for?
Yeah, so this is challenging because obviously with a variety of toxins, they can have differing kind of presentations. The best thing to look for is for your pet not acting right, but very commonly we see GI signs with toxicity: vomiting, diarrhea, drooling. If they're wobbly or acting like restless or even quieter than normal, if their breathing seems off, those are signs in the beginning that can really clue you in. More advanced signs can be tremors, seizures, collapse, changes in urination. All of those are signs to look for. But I generally tell people, if your pet is not acting right, I would recommend getting them evaluated, because you just don't know.
How quickly do pet owners need to do that? How do we know when it's critical?
Sure. So with these guys, the sooner we can evaluate and treat, the better, no matter the substance. Because if we let it get past the point of them being really sick, a lot of times it can be too late to directly treat the toxicity, and we're just doing supportive care. Early recognition is really key for these guys.
Dr. Groom, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That is Dr. Katie Groom, Senior Medical Director at VEG Veterinary Emergency Group in Brentwood and St. Peters.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
While you can't dim all the lights in your city, you can control your immediate nighttime environment. The Berkeley Wellness Letter suggests using night mode on devices. Phones, computers, and tablets can be adjusted to reduce brightness, shifting screen lighting to warmer tones in the evening. This cuts down on light pollution in your home and reduces eye strain to make it easier to fall asleep. Those with continued eye strain should pay a visit to the eye doctor. I'm Margie Schaefer.